Hello, I'm Charlie Brooker and welcome to So Wrong It's Right, a panel show about Britain's favourite subject, failure. We're here to celebrate life's biggest balls-ups, the sort of massive mistakes that end up turning full circle and becoming perverse kinds of triumph. The Germans have a word for this phenomenon, Fullen Circle Perversum Triumphum. Kipling, of course, had a famous quote on how to accept failure with dignity. Shut up and eat a cherry Bakewell. With me tonight to snatch defeat from the jaws of failure are my guests, the dismal Rufus Hound, the deplorable Victoria Corrin, and BAFTA-winning David Mitchell. I'll be asking them a series of questions about the worst things in the world and awarding a point to whoever I think has given the best answer. So without any further ado, let's take a look at the scores so far. You're currently all lying in third place with 0 points. The stench of defeat is sickening, frankly. It's a little disappointing, but there's still everything to play for as we go into round 1. Which is called Wrong Time, Wrong Place, in which I'll be asking my guests to delve into their own calamitous pasts to come up with the worst thing that's happened to them in a certain situation. This week's theme is, it's holidays. Victoria, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you on holiday?
Well, I have been on a Club 1830 holiday.
I don't put you and the phrase Club 18 to 30 holiday in the same universe.
That's very kind of you to say. I did go. You can guess whether I went because I wanted to get laid a lot or I was covering it for the Daily Telegraph. But I went quite...
Surely both.
And considering it was for the Daily Telegraph, did they think it was a reenactment of the year 1830?
But nobody has any sex on the menu, but they're sort of drinking holidays. It was...
Sounds all right.
It was just... and nobody's 18 either. It was a sort of concrete box full of vomiting children. And it was, you drank all day. The one thing that freaked me out immediately is at breakfast they gave you this drink called orange. But it wasn't orange juice or orange, it was just a glass of orange. I think it had rum in it. And all day people drank. It was a sort of a sex abstention holiday. People were just insensible with drink. But the thing that was the weirdest thing that anybody said to me while I was there, and it didn't really depress me at the time, but it does now. There was this chap, I remember, he just left school. It was a celebration holiday. And he said, you know what's great about leaving school is I'm going to get my own place. It's really nice for my dad, because he's worked his whole life, he's brought me up, it's been all responsibility now, you know, he can relax, enjoy, you know, his old age and, you know, look forward to having some grandchildren. And I said, how old's your dad? And he said, he's 32.
Did you go on your own or with friends?
I took a friend who, we're not really friends anymore. I said, it's really good, I've got this holiday and we're going to get it free with the Daily Telegraph. It was awful. You sit in a room and there's sort of buckets of drink, all different drinks poured in a bucket. And people just, literally just are lying on the floor vomiting. That's the essence of the, although you could probably get pregnant from the hotel swimming pool. God knows I But, I mean, they just drink themselves unconscious and then they get flown home in an air ambulance.
It kind of sounds all right. It sounds like some form of treatment.
Considering that this is meant to be your worst holiday, you didn't pay for it. How can that possibly be bad? Let's find out from normal, honest-to-goodness people who here would like a free holiday. I rest my case, Charlie.
The thing is, though, if you haven't paid for something, you're never going to appreciate it. That's the trouble.
That raises a lot of questions.
All sorts of things you can conclude from that.
David, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you on holiday?
I've not had very traumatic experiences on holiday, really, but it was sitting in a former church in Swansea that had been converted into a cinema, which was called the 1, 2, 3, because they named their screens 1, 2 and 3. And watching Dumbo. And while it poured with rain outside, and while steam slowly rose from everyone else in the cinema. Probably me as well, but I was blaming them.
And I think that sounds lovely.
That does sound lovely.
It's not lovely, there's nothing lovely about it.
Paradiso.
Well, no, there's nothing lovely about it. The place was incredibly sort of muggy and humid. There was no rake for the seating. I don't know why I'm gesturing, this is a radio programme. It's like you sort of sit on chairs and on a flat, you know, in a place, once a place of worship.
went on a holiday once which consisted of, it was a 3-day trip to Spain on a car ferry. There and back, and there was no entertainment. No,
on a car ferry to Spain? So
yes.
Presumably it took 5 days to get there.
It took 3 days. It was a day and a half there and a day and a half back. And but there was a cinema on board, and I think this is the worst cinema. So there was a cinema on board where it was showing Mortal Kombat the movie. Rufus, can you do any worse?
No. The only thing I had by way of competition was, just when I started getting paid work as a stand-up, I was able to use some of that and go on a 2-week holiday to Tunisia with the girl that I hadn't been going out with, then had been going out with, then hadn't been going out with, then was going out with.
That's a long way of saying on-off girlfriend.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to do is labour the point of how
successfully.
Thank you very much. Just how on-off it was, because this was meant to be the 2 weeks where finally we put our differences behind us. But what actually happened was, I don't know if anybody's been to Tunisia, but there's not a great deal to do. But outside of the walls of the hotel, the girl I was with was very fair-haired, and that is clearly something of an exotic thrill to the locals. So any time she left, she basically got felt up. And if we were in the souks and things like that, she was just permanently being sort of poured at. So she didn't really feel that she wanted to leave the hotel. So we basically developed our own brand of all-inclusive Stockholm syndrome. Where we were sort of penned in, and rather than this being a uniquely bonding experience that saw the relationship last, it was then she realised she had a totally captive audience to plough over every minute detail about why we'd got together and why we'd broken up and who I'd seen mid-time. Until it literally got to the point where I said, we can't stay in the hotel anymore. And I told her it was because there had to be more to Tunisia than we were seeing. But it was actually because I genuinely hoped she was going to get abducted.
That's horrible.
But that, Charlie Brooker, is how bad that holiday was. And at no point did my grandparents offer me a Werther's original or somebody else pay for it.
I think you were... I mean, what I want to know is, who had you been seeing during the time apart? Because, I mean, if you actually took the relationship seriously and cared about her and wanted a future, you would have just waited, wouldn't you? You'd have sat and waited for her. Well, I mean, if you were out every night, asking people on dates, seeing other people, you know that you didn't care, you didn't mean anything. You put yourself in a position where she's asking you these reasonable questions.
And this...
Is this taking you back?
This, ultimately, Charlie, is why all of my friends are men.
Well, I'd say that all things considered, I'd say I'm going to award a point to David because misery is relative. Let's not forget that. Well, we'll move on now to round 2, if we may, which is called Do Your Worst. It's a test of my guest's capacity for creative wrongdoing. This week I'll be asking my guests to pitch me an idea for the most terrible reality TV show. I don't mean bad in that it wouldn't work, because none of them do, but bad in that human society would have to degenerate by about 80% in order for it to be considered vaguely acceptable. My favourite terrible idea wins a point and a 32-part series on ITV4. Rufus, what's your pitch?
What I found with these shows, broadly speaking, is that you start from the title and work backwards. The title itself has to be enough to draw us in, which is why you get things like Dog Borstal. I've tried to come up with the title and work my way backwards. So my suggestion is Blaze of Granny. There was a show not that long ago that dealt sensitively with the issue of euthanasia, but I believe that the British television public have now had that dealt with sensitively, and they're ready for a slightly more prime-time Saturday night style approach. So, essentially, Vernon Kay...
I like it already.
Introduces a series of elderly people who have got incurable diseases, and they then pick a way to end their own lives.
I assumed when you said it was Blaze of Granny that they all had to die by fire.
That's where you'd be wrong, David.
I'm disappointed. I don't want to see them injected. I want to see them burnt.
Oh, no. This is where the next format point really comes into its own. Because the most spectacular ending of one's own life of the night wins the point. £10,000 on offer. So I'm imagining...
£10,000 for who?
The families.
Oh, so it's got a feel-good end?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So basically the families all stood behind Eunice from Rotherham, and Vernon says, "So, Eunice, what's it going to be?" And she says, "Tonight, Vernon, I'm going to be kicked to death by a donkey." Bring out the donkey!
Is there going to be a panel of judges like X Factor?
No, phone vote.
Oh, I see. Okay. I was going to say, because it's going to be hard. I'd like to see somebody inhale a drain pipe full of bees. I'd like to see that.
You know, Charlie, it's that kind of thinking that could win you £10,000.
That's certainly intriguing.
It would give it a dark twist, because what they always say on the X Factor is, I would never have had the confidence to apply to this show, but my family insisted that I did.
In my defence, may I just point out how that has clearly captured the public imagination. Looking around this room now, there isn't a man or woman in this room who isn't thinking, how would I go?
Thank you very much, Rufus. Victoria, do you believe you could top that?
Well, it's sort of yes and no, because the thing is, in a way, the fact that it captures the public imagination, it's really quite a good idea for a reality show.
I reckon anything can capture the public's imagination. I reckon the public's imagination's stupid, if you like.
Famous people drawn on flannels, they'd watch that.
I haven't got nearly such a sort of baroque, thought-out idea. I mean, as you say, it's very difficult to top things that already exist. And I was going to say, I don't know if you know, there is already a reality show called Help Me, Anthea, I'm Infested.
Yes.
Which is a show in which people that have, you know, beetles or ants or rats, I think, possibly in the house, Anthea Turner goes around and cleans it out. And I was thinking, well, Anthea Turner, unfortunately, her husband has gone bankrupt, so she's obviously going to be available for more work. So I was really just thinking of ideas for her. I haven't got the whole picture. It's Help Me, Anthea, I've got a verruca. I thought could make a show. But just small things. Because, you know, there's a recession, so everything's going to be smaller and more domestic.
What, Help Me, Anthea, I've dropped a pen?
Help Me, Anthea, I'm 5 minutes late for a meeting. Help Me, Anthea, I'm nearly out of Marmite. I'm worried it's going to run out. And there's just this one piece of toast. But I think...
In fact, you wouldn't need to televise it. Just get work for Anthea Turner as a servant.
And isn't there a flaw in the plan of Help Me, Anthea, I'm Infested? If you wake up one day and realise you've got rats, and then you phone Anthea Turner, who helps you get rid of those rats, now you've got Anthea Turner.
Yeah,
and that is worse.
What do you have to send after Anthea Turner? A lion. Then you've got lions. You have to get Vernon Kay.
But what do you send after Kay?
A tiger.
Now you make it sound good. My whole point is I'm not going to try and sell you on, oh, and it'll be full of this and that, and that's going to be a bad show. That's it. Help Me, Anthea, I've got a verruca. She turns out, you know, you show her the verruca, you sit and talk about it for half an hour, the show's over.
But
don't tell me that's not the worst idea.
I think this show should be ethically questionable, so she'd have to nibble off the verruca. That's immediate gold.
But there are shows that are actually so boring that what they are is just footage of things that would happen anyway. And I don't mean the football. But no, I mean, what I'm specifically thinking of is the programme Homes Under the Hammer. Two people say, what we're going to do is we're going to look at some houses that are going to be sold at auction as opposed to by the conventional method, and look at the house and say, yeah, well, obviously it needs a bit of work, but they might get it at a bargain price because it's being auctioned rather than being sold by the conventional method. And then we'll go to the auction and see what it fetches, which is a little bit more than they reckoned usually, but less than if they'd been selling it by the conventional method. And then we interview the person who bought it, and they say, no, we're quite pleased we got it for left because we went to auction. It wasn't sold by the conventional method. And so we're hoping to do it up and then sell it probably actually by the conventional method. Now, that's all things that are just happening anyway, and they've just chosen to film. And you don't even need to involve Anthea or a Veruca at all. It's just, you know, you might say, just find someone on the street, say, what are you doing? You're going to work. OK, it's people going to work. Where do you work? I work in an office. OK, do you usually take this route? Yes, I'm just about to get on the bus. Following him on the bus.
So you're annoyed by the idea of documentaries?
I'm not annoyed by the idea of all documentaries.
That is a bloody good point.
But you're just saying... what you've said is you're annoyed that they didn't meddle enough in the process of the auction.
No,
and...
I'm not annoyed.
What did you want them to do?
I'm not annoyed that they didn't meddle enough. I suppose what I'm annoyed by is their choice of subject. You know, rather than the documentary about the bloke that walked between the two twin towers in New York, it's quite an interesting thing to do. Selling a house at auction rather than by the conventional method.
But they have to put this on every day. If they had a daredevil...
No, they don't.
Well, come on then, smarty pants. What's your idea for a reality show?
Yeah, it's always a worrying cue, that. Come on then, smarty pants. Rudeness isn't good. You wouldn't call me smarty pants in real life. Yeah, on a rate, you'd be very nice. Hello, David, thanks for coming and doing the show. Let's have a cup of tea. He was all sweetness and light down in the dressing room, but now, under the power of the media, it's all smarty pants. See what we're doing? We're all making it worse. So, my idea for a show is where somebody has to lose their entire circle of friends through rudeness and unpleasantness and being as cutting as possible, so that those people are so offended they refuse to speak to them anymore. And when they have lost their last friend, a bit like Brewster's Millions, when instead of losing their money, they're losing their friends. When they have lost their last friend, they're utterly cut off and alone as the biggest arsehole who ever lived. Then they get introduced to a whole new circle of more glamorous friends. They get a pot of money and are allowed to live in a yacht. And are presented to the country as a success story. This is how you succeed. You are horrible to everyone and cutting and rude, and they give you a nice sandwich and you go, oh, I can't believe you made me a sandwich.
That is simple and completely horrible.
Thank you.
I've got an idea for a show called Heaven is a Place on Earth, where you find people who are undergoing operations and you wait until they come round and then you convince them they died on the table, and you've got them met by John Lennon and Albert Einstein, you know, people in masks, and you see how long you can maintain the pretense. But I would say that for raw, visceral appeal, I'd say Rufus's Blaze of Granny deserves a point. This next round is called This Putrid Modern Hell. I'll be asking each of my guests to nominate the modern misery that most gets on their wick. By modern, I mean any annoyance from the rise of Jeremy Spake onwards. He's very much the 9/11 of modern irritants. The world has never been the same since. That's my benchmark. As ever, my favourite answer wins a point. So, David, these days, what annoys you?
I am definitely annoyed by people who keep telling me what an opportunity the internet is. People saying that the internet is exciting, it's an opportunity, you can get your stuff, by which I think they mean jokes, to lots of different people in different ways, and just generally explore this fantastic world that doesn't exist, like some kind of entrepreneur. And I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I want to make comedy shows in a system that already exists, please. I want everyone to have to watch BBC One or BBC Two or ITV, and for me to be on one of those. I don't want to be on them now that hardly anyone watches them, because they can watch anything or stay at home on their computer looking at cats on skateboards.
So the internet?
No, not the internet in itself.
People
there are lots of good things on the internet. You can find out when trains are leaving. It's sort of mainly what it's for, I think.
Isn't progress terrible?
That is what David saying, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Look, I'm not saying...
Change is bad.
I'm not saying all change is bad. I'm not saying don't cure cancer.
You're just afraid. Of course I'm
afraid.
Scared of the internet.
I'm scared of the future. I'm scared of the past. I'm nervous at the moment.
Well, OK, so basically what you don't like about modern life is the moment. You don't like anything before or after.
No, I'm not. That was just a sort of general remark. I'm not nominating everything. That annoys me.
Fair enough. Rufus.
I'm a stand-up comedian, Charlie Brooker, and as such, I do quite a lot of driving. So I would like to nominate the inadherence to the basic 3-lane motorway principle.
Right. You see, this interests me. I don't drive a car, and my whole life people have been banging on about people hogging the middle lane. Why are they in the middle lane hoggers, middle lane hoggers? I've never met one. They must exist. And I swear, if I ever learn to drive, I'm going to be one of them.
I don't even understand how the motorway works. I can't drive either.
The problem is, Charlie, nobody else seems to.
How does it work?
Right, you've got your 3 lanes.
Yeah.
Now, you're supposed to just stay in the middle one, right?
Do you want to be in my pilot for Blaze of Granny? Basically, if you think that the motorway should only be 1 lane, that is the correct way of thinking about it, and that is the lane on the left. So everybody drives in the lane on the left.
That's the slow lane.
No, it's not the slow lane! It's not the slow lane! This is the problem! People think, oh, it's the slow lane. I don't want to be going very slow. and that's not right.
Victoria.
This is what I hate. Public information adverts that show me something revolting in order to scare me out of doing something that I don't do. My particular least favourite at the moment is that one you see in the cinema where the man pulls the rat out of his mouth. Have you seen that? He sort of belches up a rat. It's disgusting. And it's to tell you, don't buy illegal drugs on the internet or by mail order. And the voiceover says the drugs bought on the internet could contain rat poison. First of all, rat poison is not the same as a rat. The pill doesn't contain a rat. That's the first thing. Second, I don't buy illegal drugs on the internet. I never have. I never will. I'm never going to. Why? I'm sitting there. I'm quite happy. I've got my Revels. I'm pleased. I've just had it. The orange one. I like that one, so it's good news. Now I've got to see a man vomiting up a rat. There's another one. Speaking of driving, seatbelts. I always wear a seatbelt. I always wear one. I switch on the television. Do you not wear a seatbelt? Maybe you'd like to watch a man's pancreas exploding. This is a situation. I don't do these things. I'm being shown something revolting. I'm being punished for something I haven't done. I don't like it.
I don't know if they still show. I don't like the one where the little girl is under the tree and she bends herself back into life and then and slides along her back into the middle of the road and complains that if you'd hit her at 30 she'd survive, if you hit her at 40 she would die. So why doesn't she just run away at 10 miles an hour? She sees the car. The stupid cow. Instead of lying around and moaning. OK, well, so, as someone who hates pretty much everything, this round is a difficult decision, but I'm going to have to go with, I think, Victoria. I think Victoria... On to the final round, random wrongness, which is a quick-fire round testing my guests' capacity for spontaneous error. As always, the wrongest answer to each question wins a point. Time starts now. What's the worst opening line to a sci-fi novel?
I've got one. Zafrak stood on the bridge, the plasma from the landing gear still fizzing around the ship. So, he thought to himself, this is Croydon.
Pretty bad.
It's, I had a semicolon.
That's 3 lines all staggeringly ill-punctuated. I haven't ever read a science fiction novel.
Hence the fact that it's a bad first sentence, I suppose.
Thank you so much.
To me, you know, they've lost me once the bad line is on the cover, genre sci-fi. I've never looked beyond that. I don't even know. Smeg, said Rimmer. That is my guess. And how...
1984.
Well, no, that was sci-fi. I haven't read it anyway, but it's sci-fi? That's not really sci-fi.
There aren't any space aliens in it.
There aren't any
I have read it. No space aliens. Like, any minute now, the aliens are going to land. No. It's just moaning about the Earth. And, it turned out it wasn't that bad at all. It was right. I was living in 1984. It's fine. Had an irritating afternoon in a cinema, I remember.
Well, I think that's a point to Rufus. What's the worst thing you've ever paid money for?
I've got one. It's those cash machines where they charge you £1.50. I think now £1.99. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm spending I'm getting nothing except my own money, but less of my own money than I'm spending. So I would have to be worse than a senior banker at business to think that was good. And also, they're worse cash machines than the ones. They're not even in a proper wall, usually. They're like a sort of little object in a horrible newsagent. So that sort of thing. So it's not even the infrastructure. There isn't the brick. It's not in the side of a bank. This is...
But you're paying for the convenience of having money magically placed into your hand by a robot.
Don't try and make it sound exciting. Is that the beginning of your sci-fi novel? A magic robot put money in my hand. And I had to have sex with the magic robot. Because this is a horrible future where robots pay humans for sex.
I would say I'm going to give a point to David because paying money for your own money is pretty poor. What's the worst thing you could say to someone on meeting them at a party?
I want a baby.
That does depend on the party, really.
No, really, I've tried it in a lot of different parties. It's never...
I'm going to give you a point.
Oh, thank you.
What's the worst advertising slogan for a fast food restaurant?
Eat fast, die young.
Not bad.
Oh, it's just, it's all right, this year's mouse has already been found.
Come for the food, stay for the warmth.
I think sometimes the names are bad when you get those knockoff KFC places. I remember seeing one that was called Memorable Fried Chicken. Really? Didn't instill confidence.
My God, you can believe that, though.
I'm going to give a point to David for come for the food, stay for the warmth. That noise means we've reached the end of the round and indeed the game. Having clocked up the most points, this week's highest scoring contestant is David. Well done, David. You've won nothing. Thanks to all my guests, David Mitchell, Victoria Corrin and Rufus Hound. I've been Charlie Brooker. Now go away.
So Wrong It's Right was produced by Alan Evans and it was a Zeppotron production for BBC Radio 4.
Hello, I'm Charlie Brooker and welcome to So Wrong It's Right, a panel show that actively welcomes mankind's biggest failures, a bit like a travelogue or the Smash Hits poll winners party. This show is about when things go wrong. Like many of us, I've experienced the bitter taste of disappointment, or KFC. I would like to believe that by extending our understanding of what is truly wrong with the world, we may one day cast aside all our differences of race, creed or class, come together as a people and with one voice finally demand, politely yet firmly, an immediate end to Piers Morgan's career. Might happen. It's often hard to recognise failure until it's staring you in the face. Please welcome my guests. Mr. Lee Mack. Miss Josie Long and Mr. Tom Basden. Now, the first round is called Wrong Time, Wrong Place. I'll be asking my guests to trawl through the murky waters of their memories in an attempt to out-wrong each other with stories from their own pasts. This week's question is, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you on public transport? I think the transport system is incredible. From my house in London, I can jump on a train in the afternoon and a few hours later enjoy a night out in Newcastle city centre. Or I can just walk to the kitchen and stand in front of an open fridge wearing a T-shirt and punching myself in the face. Lee Mack, what is the worst thing you've ever done on public transport?
I used to be a blue coat at Pontins. Right? Yeah, strap in, ladies, it's rock and roll. And I was running for a bus because I was going for my one day out for the whole summer season to meet a girl in Norwich town centre. It's sounding more glamorous as the story goes on, isn't it? And my mate helped me out. My best friend held the jacket open for me, said, come on, you're going to miss the bus. And I put the jacket on and I ran onto the bus. And what I didn't realise is, you know when someone puts on your back, kick me? He'd put, I am an absolute prat, in massive paper, and he'd sewn it on. So, you know when people go, how do I got that sticker on the back without him noticing? They must have thought I was paralysed from the waist up. I couldn't feel anything. And it's the fact that if it had said like a really offensive swear word, it would have been clear that someone else had done it. But it's the fact that it just said, I am an absolute prat, that sort of suggested maybe that I'd done it. And I spent the whole of the journey from Yarmouth to Norwich, which is a good 40 minutes on the bus, with everybody on the bus laughing at me.
Surely, I mean, you're a comic. This must have been a good
Not in 1988, I was an absolute prat.
I feel quite sorry for you.
Did you do anything to get the bloke back?
I shot him. In the back. Well, actually, that's not true. I took the legs off his bed, but then balanced them back on, so that when he went into bed, it took a few seconds before it collapsed.
Those are both really time-consuming things. Like, he was sewing for about 2 hours. Like, oh, he's gonna... And then you, like...
It was very much a DIY needlecraft-based competitor.
I had the easiest way. I mean, if you put a rubber sheet on someone's bed and then cover it with icing sugar and then put their regular sheet on top of that, during the night they get glazed like a donut. Because apparently this is true, because they sweat. You know, you heat up and you sweat during the night, and the sugar seeps through and it glazes.
That'll be fun.
That's a tip.
That's just a treat for everyone, isn't it?
Josie Long, how about you? What's the worst thing?
I thought it was what's the worst thing that's happened to you on public transport. Although I've started doing a thing where I try and talk to strangers on public transport, but I've done it in more and more tenuous ways. Like, there were 2 nuns on the other day next to me and I went, are you nuns? That was my opening gambit.
That's not tenuous, that's just kind of bewildered and stupid, isn't it?
I couldn't think of another in.
It's a fair question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I would think that they might be, like, going to a fancy dress party or something.
Exactly. And I thought, I've got to get an in with them, and then I can have a chat about nuns. It turns out they were really frosty. I was just like...
When you say frosty, you mean frosty like they've been in a bed with Charlie and been glazed?
So you're quite well behaved, but what's the worst thing you've witnessed then?
There was... all the time my weight fluctuates, and so sometimes I'll be more chunky.
It's fluctuating a lot now.
Yeah,
I'm finding it quite difficult to sit next to you.
I'm a shape-shifting ghost monster. But when I was a bit chubbier, I was waiting harmlessly at the bus stop, looking at some Polaroids that I'd taken of me and my friends mucking around. Not in a... That sounds creepy, having said it out loud, but just, like, at a party. And, at a normal party, and this bloke next to me, apropos of nothing, went, I bet you'll have a boy. And I was like, what? He thought I was looking at scans. But it didn't even look like scans.
How intimate were these photographs?
Well, they were nothing. They were just like me doing double defos. I had no idea why he interpreted...
I mean, a boy would do that in the womb rather than a girl.
And then I went, I'm not pregnant, these are just photos. And then we just had to sit there.
Tom, what's the worst thing that...
Well, you know, I've got a story that happened to a friend of mine, and it's he was on a bus in Rome, and what he'd done is he'd tied a pink string to his wallet because he was worried about pickpockets, and he sort of bound it up and then put it in his pocket, and he was on the bus and he saw this string unravel, and the string kind of went down the other end of the bus. He was like, oh God, right. And so he started like following this string. And he traced it to this woman who was sort of, who looked like she was holding a baby, but it's just a load of towels, because they're clever. They
was this a dream?
No. And he traced it to this woman, and he sort of, he kind of approached her, and what he said is, and genuinely, I really like it. He's quite a well-spoken guy, and he said, "I'm terribly sorry, but I think you might have stolen my wallet." And she didn't understand him. Obviously, she was Italian, and he didn't speak any Italian. So he started gesturing to the string and gesturing to the baby, and she was sort of just kind of a bit confused. And then.
Oh my God!
And that wasn't string; it was an umbilical cord.
That is how they snap it as well, just with their hands these days. Or
Is it? What, in Italy?
Yeah, in Italy, yeah.
They're
I was
animals.
being strangled by my umbilical cord as I was being born. It was wrapped round my neck. That's coloured my view of this stinking universe.
I don't think it was on purpose, though. You shouldn't blame your mother for that.
How close were you to death?
I don't know. I was sort of turning all sorts of interesting colours. They had to, like,
You
this is like...
You were actually
psychotherapy.
bored, angry, weren't you? You basically came out going, all right, someone's going to pay for this. Start with Radio 4.
So he didn't get his wallet back?
No, he thought it was better just to avoid confrontation.
Lee, you sat on a bus all the way to Norwich with I Am a Massive Prat on your back.
Party, and this bloke next to me, apropos of nothing, went, "I bet you'll have a boy." I was like, what? He thought I was looking at scans.
Josie, you start in awkward conversations with strangers, and Tom, your friend had a wallet stolen that he sort of chased a dreamlike pink ribbon.
Yeah.
To a woman with some sort of imaginary swaddling child. I think Josie, yours is the most ill-advised behaviour, so it's a point to you. The next round is called Do Your Worst, and it's a test of my guests' ability to spew terrible ideas. This week I've asked them to pitch me their plan for a new high-concept restaurant chain. Experimental chef Heston Blumenthal is opening a chain restaurant. He's going to sell boiled chains. Probably on a bed of pureed antelope and marmalade. Sounds lip-smacking in that I'd rather be smacked in the lips. Being a top restaurant chef isn't easy. Some people criticise Gordon Ramsay, but I've learned a lot from him. Just last night, I prepared a venison stew while screaming obscenities into a stranger's face. Josie, come on, hit me with a restaurant chain idea.
Can I just say before I pitch my one that I really hate chain restaurants so much. They just depress me utterly. So, because you might as well just go in straight away and go, I give up. I want even my leisure time to be a compromise. The whole, I give up. I've got one life and I'm choosing to do this. I hate it, right, but...
That's a good slogan for the advert. For the harvesters.
I've got one life and I'm choosing to do this.
Go on then, what's your restaurant chain idea?
Okay, right, so you would sit down and it would be called Teacups and Daisies, right, and it would be really cute, and they would have gingham tablecloths, and you would sit down and they would bring out one of those really, really, really cutest thing in the world, teacup pigs, and then they would stab it in the stomach in front of you, and it would be crying, like, weep, like, but, like, the cutest crying you could imagine. That would be the worst thing I could imagine happening. Because all I want in the world is to have 2 teacup pigs and call them Professor and Mrs. Porkington. It's so cute.
So basically what you're saying is like an appalling act of cruelty.
Yeah.
At the start of the meal.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to a restaurant where there were like animals crucified. Live, like, and you just cut bits off. And it's called Happy Now. Lee Mack, what's your idea for a high-concept restaurant chain?
Have you heard of these blind-themed restaurants? Yeah. Yeah? You heard of these?
Yes, there's a restaurant which is pitch black.
Pitch black, called Don Le Noir, which is obviously French for we couldn't get a top chef, so we had to go for the novelty factor. The idea is you go in, it's pitch black, and it's supposed to be more senses to your, you know, more sense on your mouth. And
Right,
so...
and in your lap as you, like, spill.
Yeah, more pain in your crotch. But I hate small talk in restaurants, so adopting that theme, instead of a blind one, it's a deaf one, and everyone is given earplugs so you can't hear anybody else. And you don't have to make small talk, and the waiter can be a bit more honest and enjoy his day as well and can say, do you want to have a look at the dessert trolley, you fat get? Just more honesty. I don't want to make small talk, Charlie.
Like, I mean, how does the menu... You just point at stuff on the menu? So it's a bit like being abroad.
It's like just being... That's exactly what it's like. If they don't understand, you point. If they really don't understand, you shout. That's exactly what it's like. Torremolinos, it's going to be called.
Tom, what's your idea for a chain restaurant?
My chain of restaurants would be called Cramp. What you do is you'd go in and then there'd be a big pool and you'd have to get in and tread water in the pool, and then sort of food would float over on like little lilos and you'd sort of have to just like nibble at it and stuff. And then it would more just be a massive... It's not a great business model, just a massive sort of thing to prove my mum wrong that you definitely don't get cramp if you eat and swim at the same time.
Would it be waterproof food? Sort of floaty food? Wouldn't you like on a pool full of gravy?
Yeah, apples is good. Ideally floaty food. But I mean, otherwise you could just put...
You don't want to eat things that are floating towards you, traditionally. Is there going to be a changing room where you're toweling down? You don't want that after you've just eaten, watching everybody else drying off their haunches. You haven't thought this through.
Not massively.
Anyway, OK, Josie, you had the sort of pig slaughtering restaurant. Lee, your idea was for a restaurant where it simulates deafness. And Tom, yours was a sort of floating, horrible, cramped, score-settling, petty score-settling.
I didn't use the word horrible. You're trying to sort of, put influence...
Right, charming.
Thank you, yeah.
Pointless. Well... you know what, Josie, I'm going to give the point to you. The next round is called This Putrid Modern Hell. It's a sort of hate rally against the 21st century's biggest little annoyances. I'll be asking my guests to nominate the thing they hate most about today, and the best answer wins a point. It's about hell. No one can agree on what constitutes hell. Jean-Paul Sartre said, hell is other people, which is another way of saying all my friends are philosophers. The world has changed beyond recognition in recent years. If you showed an iPhone to Sir Walter Raleigh, chances are you'd either be having a boring dream or an exciting night of grave digging. Modern technology has replaced many of our traditional comforts. Instead of a pet, I've got a mouse. Instead of a wife, I've got Wi-Fi. And instead of friends, I've got absolutely nothing. Tom, what annoys you most about the modern world?
On my way here tonight, I was cycling here. The car in front of me just put his hazards on and then did some of the most dangerous driving I've ever seen. And I think that it's kind of a way of people just flagging up that they're about to do something that's potentially life-threatening. That's all it's for, really. It's kind of like, it's just sort of saying, well, sorry, but guess what? You know, you might well die. And, here it comes, yeah. And it's that kind of, that attitude with hazards that just irritates me so much. You just kind of, you can't stop here, obviously you can't can't I? Well, these winking lights disagree. And it's just...
I'm not that familiar with the highway. I can't drive. I'm not qualified to drive, so I'm not that familiar with the highway code. Are you allowed to do anything you like after switching your hazard?
Well, not anything, Trevor. No. You know, this won't hold up in court. Depends what you've got in mind.
You can't park outside somewhere, like, kill everyone inside, get back in your car.
The minimum requirement is...
I know I killed 4 of them, but my hazard lights were on. That's not my fault.
I think you must cause a hazard. That's the only thing that's sort of required of you when you put your hazard on.
So it's like a challenge?
Yeah, a little bit.
Mode for cars.
Yeah.
So you just switch your hazards on, you can mount the pavement, you can just knock dustbins over.
I mean, it's a nonsensical thing, because it's saying I'm going to go left and I'm going to go right at the same time. So it's sort of just declaring that you're going to challenge the laws of logic.
I used to cycle. Every week you would have a life-threatening experience, which would mean you'd arrive at work really sort of full of yourself for having survived an ordeal, which was kind of quite good, because you don't get that sort of... You don't on the tube every day. It's not like every day on the tube somebody nearly pushes you in front of a train.
No, it's like if you were riding the tube and you were sort of just wobbling on the platform every day and go, and then you just sort of step back. It is a bit like that.
Quite good. So I welcome the hazard lights. I welcome challenge mode and sort of... That's exciting, isn't it? They should play a dramatic chord when they're doing it. The hazard should go on. There should be a sort of dun-dun! Josie.
The thing I really, really hate is when a new supermarket is opening and they write, your new Sainsbury's local is opening here, or your new Marks and Spencer's is opening here, and it's like they're taunting me because they know I don't want them, and they know that it's like they're forcing it on me, but they're not even really, because it's not. I'll let you in a secret. It's not really mine. Like, it's not. I know for a fact because my behaviour in there has been challenged, right? Yeah, and if it was mine, then I'd be allowed to do whatever I wanted. And, but also, it just symbolises everything. It's like, you're M&S, insofar as if you come in and pay us more money than you've got, we'll give you fruit that doesn't taste as nice as you think the fruit should. And like,
well, this is not just a pear, it's a disappointment.
Yeah. And then go back.
I said that to my wife last night. Hey, I'm cheeky, never blue.
Maybe it would inspire you to start your own supermarket chain and then open a branch near their houses and put adverts in the paper saying, opening soon, my supermarket, and then not let anyone in.
I'd love that, because I actually really adore supermarkets, and I've got a real...
It doesn't sound like you do.
Well, I like to walk around really big ones and just look at all the stuff and think, oh, if there was the apocalypse right now, I'd be so sorted. Like, if the doors got shut, if I got shut in, I'd be like...
I think that's going to be Morrison's Christmas slogan next year. If the apocalypse was now, you'd be sorted. What is it that's so annoying about that sort of this is your this, you're that, because you're worth it,
One is totally... That's not because you're worth it, although that is annoying. It's not just that it's disingenuous, it's that it's completely not true. Like, it is not mine. Stop saying nothing belongs to me. I can't afford to buy a house. Look at me.
It also implies somehow you care that much. Oh, that's my Sainsbury's is opening. That's good.
Exactly.
Isn't that exciting? Lee.
Do you know what I did yesterday? I'll tell you. I bought some milk from the shop. A couple of hours later, I bought a pasty. And I ate it. And then I had a little lie down. And then, when I woke up, I went to the toilet. And then I had a cup of tea. Do you think that was a particularly interesting story?
No, not really.
Well then, can you answer me this, Charlie? Why do people like you insist on doing Twitter?
Well, the point of Twitter, surely it's the present tense. Now your lie down may not seem significant to you, and it turns out it wasn't. But how were you to make a value judgment at the time?
Oh, I'm not an idiot. I did my research. I know what you did yesterday, Charlie. Obviously, if somebody bought milk or had a lie down, obviously that would just be utterly futile and boring. Who would write something like that? But imagine, ladies and gentlemen, if I'd have done something like bought a phone. I think you'd want to know about that, wouldn't you? Tell me, Charlie, have you bought a phone recently? Yes. You bought it yesterday. You not only bought it, you wanted to share the experience with so many of your followers. That's the bit that disturbs me, the idea that you think you've got followers. Like Christ. I am the leader and you are my followers.
You're tearing down the few things I cling to, Lee.
What I don't understand about Twitter is the fact that people I really respect and really like and I think who are funny, and you, right? People like you, there's so many comedians now who do... It's like a zombie curse film where you think you and your mates are all together and then one by one they start falling off. You know, you go...
One joining?
They join the weirdos like you and they start doing the Twitter... What? But then they fall for it like some sort of hypnotic thing. They go, no, it's really good. And then you try. It's like pyramid selling. You go, why is it good? And they've been hypnotised. They go, because I can tell people I had a poo. And it's just... They've been transfixed with this thing.
I think it's like an almighty sheet of bubble wrap.
There's a vague satisfaction in popping each individual bubble, but it's pointless.
No. I'll tell you what, Charlie. Let's take that analogy a little bit further. What it's like is a load of people popping the bubble wrap and then going, look what I've done! I popped a bubble wrap!
I'm finding it really hard to mount any kind of defence, because I can only think in terms of 140 characters.
It's the idea that it's the medium, you see. They're celebrating the medium, not the content. You're celebrating the fact that you can do it, rather than what you're doing with it. You know, I really liked Eric Morecambe, but I would have gone off him massively if, before computers, he'd have gone round, ringing people up, going, hello! Today I bought a sandwich. And then put the phone down and think, I know, I'll ring up some other random person. Hello! I bought a sandwich! He'd go, I'm going off this man because it turns out he's a self-obsessed freak. It's not just you, Charlie. It's all of them. And I'm sure, even before she opens her mouth, that Josie's going to say, I'll have you know that I have been led into the dark.
No, I just, for the first time in my life, I really genuinely want to go, get with the now, Grandad. Do you know why I like Twitter?
You do? What a surprise! Hey, get with the yesterday, grandchild.
Because I don't follow people who go, just got in, I'm going to sit down. I follow people who go, have a look at this link, and then you click on the link and it's some fascinating magazine article you wouldn't have otherwise picked up upon because they're a research scientist. Or you're not allowed to know because you won't do it. Oh, now it sounds interesting, I'm interested. Oh, when it was just about sitting down, I wasn't interested. Oh, now there's science involved. No, you're not allowed.
Charlie, what kind of man lets his daughter fight his argument? You're sitting very sheepishly in the corner.
I can't, it's because I kind of... I
you know it's evil! Futile and pointless.
Explain...
The best argument so far of the night is it links to a magazine article. Buy a magazine, you lazy cow, and just read it. Do your own research. Don't expect Charlie Brooker to go, I found a magazine article. Do you want to be like me?
But there's nothing wrong with people talking to each other.
Talking? It's not talking, you weirdo. It's talking to each other. Exactly the same. That's like me writing on a piece of cardboard in crayon, I think you're sexy, and posting it through the neighbour's letterbox. And he goes, what are you doing? I go, there's nothing wrong with talking. Strangers who don't know you, but you have in your mental head think that they're following you, you freak.
That's my job!
It's not your job.
What is the difference between writing something on Twitter and writing something in a newspaper, where I'm writing random gibberish for people who I don't know to read?
None of the great classics of literature have ever been written in less than 140 characters. You're not writing anything. You just... Don't tell me that you're going, I've got some artistic thing that I want to get off my chest.
No, I'm not. I just want to say I bought a new phone.
Yeah, exactly.
What's wrong with that? Give me my few pleasures.
All right, I'll tell you the difference.
Allow me that.
I'll tell you the difference. If I read The Guardian and your regular article in The Guardian says, page 27, Charlie Brooker. Oh, I like that. Page 27. Read it out to me, love. OK. Today I bought a phone. What else does it say, Lee? That's it. That's all he's written this week.
Yeah, but you...
He's obviously been in a car crash.
Yeah, but usually that's all you've got to say. You just have to spin it out for 850 words in a newspaper. At least on Twitter, it's over quicker. Like a really efficient bowel movement.
Do you know what?
Okay, at the end of that, I think we've established... Tom, you dislike hazard lights.
Yeah.
It's supermarkets with a false sense of community and league. You kind of seem to hate me.
I don't hate you, Charlie.
You hate me and my attention-seeking use of modern technology. And I'm going to give you a point. OK.
Anyway, to the final round, in which I'll be asking my guests a series of quick-fire questions. As always, the wrongest answer to each one wins a point. First off, what is the worst love song lyric?
Oh, I know this. I genuinely do. There's the song Perfect 10 by Beautiful South, which is so embarrassing. There's two. It's Perfect 10 by Beautiful South when it goes, oh, I can't, oh, I'm so embarrassed to even try and, oh, it goes, when he's at the gate with his big fat 8. I hate it.
Was that Meatloaf song? I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if did he ever specify what it was? Because she says, there's a woman in that, and she says, would you hose me down with holy water if I got too hot?
He'd do that. Of course he would.
Do that without a second's thought.
Of course he would.
I don't know, that's quite... if there's a hosepipe ban or...
That's a point to you, Josie. Oh, that sound tells us everyone's had enough. And the winner, that sound genuinely, that's the end of the show. And that means that Josie is this week's worst contestant. Well done, Josie. Well done to you, and thanks to my other guests, Lee Mack and Tom Basden. And that's the end of the show. Good night. Hello, I'm Jolly Brooker, and welcome to So Wrong It's Right, a panel game celebrating the joy of failure. Yes, this is the show that hails the very worst of the very worst, but in a light-hearted, ironic way, rather than in a detailed analysis of the Armenian genocide sort of way. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't mention the Armenian genocide at all. Failure can begin early, although it's impossible to fail at school these days, with pass marks in maths sometimes being as low as 10% or 1 in 8. The Germans have a term for celebrating other people's failure. They call it Schadenfreude. We've got one too. It's the Got Talent franchise. Joining me tonight are the pathetic Richard Herring, who came here by bike, the pitiful Holly Walsh, walked, I think, and the successful, handsome, probably rich comedy writer Ian Morris, who glided into the studio on a cloud of his own smug accomplishments. OK, this round, the first round, is called Wrong Time, Wrong Place. I'll be asking my guests to cast their minds back over their useless lives in an attempt to out-wrong each other with mistakes from their own pasts. This week's question is, what's the worst thing you've ever done to impress someone? People say I'm a show-off. When I'm on a show, they turn it off. Not that anyone would have heard me make that joke. Magic tricks. Performing magic tricks can be impressive. I recently charmed a woman into bed by making 500 banknotes appear in her hand. True story. I can easily tell when I've impressed someone. Their eyes widen, their jaw drops open, they gasp, their tongue turns black. Oh no, sorry, that's strangling. OK, what's the worst thing you've ever done to impress someone? That's what we're interested in, Richard. I will start with you. I don't know why. I imagine you've made lame attempts to impress people.
I probably have. The one that springs to mind, when I was about 23, I kind of had this on-off relationship with someone who was at work, who was in a position of authority over me, really. And so it was kind of, it was a secret.
Was this a teacher?
No, I was grown up at the time, but it was this sort of on-off thing, and it was a secret. It was a secret thing we weren't allowed to talk about. And I thought one night it would be a good idea. What I decided to do was to just go round to her house unannounced and see if she was in, which is a crazy thing to do, you know, when you're not actually going out with someone. And to make it better, I bought a bottle of wine and a bunch of flowers from, like, a bucket outside of a newsagent. And so I went to her house and she wasn't in, and I sort of sat there on the steps for about 2 hours waiting for her, with other people in her flats walking past looking at me going, what are you doing? And I realised the flowers were essentially dead. And they were just really dried out. And so what I did, after 2 hours, I gave up. but left the bottle of wine and the dead flowers.
Warning!
So it's just like a terrifying... I came to meet you. I mean, you have to know I was there. I was here for hours, but you weren't here. Here are some dead flowers and some red wine. It's nearly romantic, but it really isn't.
It's like what you might find on the grave of an alcoholic. He likes his wine, and well, he got those. They're dead now.
I was going to say that's not going to. I mean, just turning up with standing forlornly on someone's steps.
Yeah, it's a disaster from start to finish. I thought it had to be the worst way to attempt to.
I can't picture Daniel Craig's James Bond doing that. It's traditionally the stink of desperation.
It's got everything.
Traditionally off-putting to the opposite sex.
Yeah, exactly. So
do you think that's why she stayed away? Because you could smell the desperation from, like, Pizza Express, wherever she was on a date, most probably.
Yeah, she was obviously out with someone else. It's a disaster to take that. I mean, what an idiot.
Well, you were 23.
And she was a horrible cow as well. What was
I once tried to impress a girl by... Well, I did several... it was Valentine's Day, and I thought, I'll draw... I used to do, sort of cartoons and things. I thought, I'll draw a Valentine's card, but I'm going to make it all alternative. And so I'll draw a really anatomically correct, human heart that looks like it. But I thought it was a bit of a joke. It was supposed to be a bit of a joke, like, be my Valentine, I've drawn this incredibly gruesome, bloodied human heart. And that was taken as a threat. When you say it was an on-off relationship, what did you do?
Was it that it was on for you, but off for her?
Now, you're a woman. Can you
I'm now speaking on behalf of the women.
You're speaking on behalf of all, but can you smell desperation?
From here? It sounds like a brand of Lynx. Lynx, desperation.
Pity.
Yeah.
OK, Holly. What's the worst thing you've ever done to try and impress someone?
I was in a similar situation so far as I was trying to impress a boy. I was 13 and a half, and I was on a school trip to Guildford Spectrum Leisure Centre. Is anyone here are you from Guildford? Yay! Party capital of Surrey, after Woking. But I was at Guildford Spectrum, and there's a massive diving pool with like 3 different sized, diving boards. And I thought it'd be really impressive to show off to my classmates on the school trip and the boy I fancied by diving off the top diving board, which is not a good idea in any time. I was sort of climbed up trying to look as sexy as possible, as sexy as you can when you're wearing a one-piece school regulation swimming costume with your name tape on the front. And I got to the top, I looked over, I instantly regretted it, but I couldn't go down because there was a queue of people behind me, so I jumped. And I don't know whether it was sort of beginner's luck or whether I have an innate talent for diving. I've never been diving since, but I did an amazing sort of forward somersault and then entered the water incredibly gracefully, and I was sort of like rising to the surface thinking I was going to get a round of applause. When I came up through the water, all I could hear was people screaming, and it turned out as I'd entered the water I'd given myself a massive nosebleed. So there was a huge slick of blood, of my own blood, and my face was like gushing with blood. Next thing I know, I'm being dragged out of the pool by like this middle-aged lifeguard, nothing like David Hasselhoff. It was awful, right? And I'm being put in the recovery position against my will, that's a really awkward angle to be seen. And all my classmates are standing around me, sort of like looking horrified. And not only did nobody fancy me ever after that, I also meant that everybody was evacuated from the pool and they had to actually empty the pool. So I completely ruined the school trip for everyone.
Is that what a sorry tale.
Well, that's the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Was it like a scene from Jaws as you were around sort of red foam?
Yeah, it was just me being pulled under by my own nosebleed.
Of course, it makes sense that if you get a nosebleed in a pool, they have to empty the whole pool. They can't just ignore it. No.
In the sort of 70s and 80s, when I went to a lot of public swimming pools, they sort of didn't really... There's all sorts of things going on. It was like a soup. It basically was, yeah.
Human soup.
Do you think they had to empty the pool because sharks can smell blood from like 5 miles away? So there were sharks coming from Woking, Dorking, they were training themselves 25 minutes from Waterloo, they could be coming from there.
They're going to get stuck in that little sort of Veruca pool.
They'd be like, I can't, big tail in the Veruca pool, I can't get it clean.
That's a harrowing tale. Ian, what's the lamest thing you've ever done?
I mean, this could take a long time because it's pretty much my whole life has been spent trying to impress people and failing pretty spectacularly. But one of the things was that I was at university in my first year, and I didn't get into a hall of residence, which is effectively saying you're a pariah. But luckily, I was studying theology and religious studies, so I had lots of friends. Lots of friends through that course, obviously. So I had no friends, and I had no friends for a year. And about 2 months from the end, no, don't pity me, I'm over it now. And, or am I? And towards the end of the year, basically, one of the sort of trainee vicars, because that's pretty much who was on my course, took pity on me and invited me to his hall of residence, his end-of-year ball. And so I went along thinking, I don't even know this guy very well. He's like a trainee vicar and he's taking pity. I've got a pity invite from a vicar. And I'm thinking, this is not what was on the box when I signed up to go to university. This is not what I was expecting for university. So I went along, I went in black tie, and I was there for a couple of hours, and I'm thinking, no one really spoke to me, and I didn't really speak to anyone else. It was quite a big do, this big hall of residence. And then suddenly, just literally, I was about to leave, and from nowhere, this girl came up to me, and she kissed me on the mouth, with tongues, and she said, take me back to my room and, make love to me. And I was like, she didn't say make love, but she did say something like that. And I said, and I remember thinking, this is amazing. This is actually what I thought would happen at university. It's been a year, and this is literally the first girl that's kissed me probably for 2 years. This is great. So we walked out of the sort of disco bit, and I'm just out the corner of my eye, I saw the next room, and it was a huge room, huge parquet floor, and I thought, this girl's a free spirit. Maybe I've got to prove to her I'm also a free spirit. And I was like, let's just do something young. We're young and crazy. Let's do something young and crazy. And I actually said that, 'cause it's burnt in my brain. And I said, come on, let's skid. Did you ever skid as a child? And she went, I'm sorry. And this is probably the third thing she said to me was, I'm sorry, when I said let's skid. And I threw my shoes off. I was like, let's skid. And I went up the parquet floor and then back down the parquet floor. And I remember seeing her face as I came back towards her, skidding, going, whee! And she looked sort of, I think it was just about to become horrified. That look when people are a bit like, I'm worried, I'm about to become horrified. And then I skidded back, and then by the time I turned around, she had gone. And it was, I remember my father, before I went to university, my father said to me, it doesn't matter what grades you get, just try and be the big man on campus. And I was like, and I remember thinking catastrophic at that moment, well, I'll never be the big man on campus now. It's going to pretty much ruin that.
I liked the idea of this sort of erotic...
No.
Like, it was like a Channel 5 adult drama. Theology nights.
But it was kind of like... the girls at university think they're the trainee vicars, they're impossible. They're impossible. It's like the women who go after gay guys. It's like one above that, isn't it? There's gay guys they're impossible to sleep with, and then there's the vicars. You'll never sleep with them. I'm going to give it a go. And then he started skidding around on the floor. I wonder he's becoming a vicar.
I love the idea of there being good hags who just come out. That monk's costume really turns me on.
Anyway, yes, at the end of that, Richard, you had the bottle of wine and the dead flower sort of memorial service. Holly was, you bled from the face as you hit the water, and Ian, you skidded your way out of a sexual encounter with a vicar. Well, you know what? I'm going to give a point to Holly, because there's an element of the horror movie. OK, the next round is called Do Your Worst. It's a test of my guests' capacity for creative cocking up. This week, I'll be asking them all to pitch an idea for a new internet business. Some experts have predicted that within just 5 years, the internet will attain self-consciousness and become an independent thinking entity. So, Peter Andre, the race is on. Scientists have speculated that looked at in 3 dimensions, the internet is shaped much like the human brain. Well, it's certainly like my brain in that it's 98% pornography and 2% video gaming. Anyway, Ian, we'll start with you. What's your online business model, schemata, web domination, value package type thing?
Well, let's look at it this way. What works? What's popular? Social networking. So it's a social networking site that gets rid of, works with sites like Bebo, Facebook, MySpace, Twitter, etc., but it funnels them down to what's essential about them. So effectively, it's a way to much more precisely stalk your ex-girlfriends or boyfriends. What it does, there's a lot of chaff out there, so it goes to all those sites, it immediately directs you to any slightly sexy photographs they might have had, say nights out, holiday snaps, that sort of thing. It also prioritises for you dickish things their new boyfriends might be doing. So, something they might have said any time they say lol or Rufflecopter, for example. Anytime more than 3 exclamation marks are used, you get an alert. You can go, he's a dick, isn't he? That's pretty much what it does. And also it'll let you know when she's had a career setback or, maybe her status has changed. Just a good time to poke her or offer a game of Scrabble, something like that. That's what it'll go for. It'll let you know these things. And also, the way the page is set up, it'll constantly bombard you with messages saying this is normal and totally fine. Nothing to worry about. What you're doing is totally fine.
I thought you were going to say it's all, with the way the page is set up, it all looks like you're viewing it through the eye hole of a balaclava.
Well, now not a bad idea, Charlie, if I may say.
Okay, so that's sinister. But I can see the appeal.
Well, I thought maybe an expansion pack for people you sort of fancy at work or people at school doing worse than you, those sorts of things you could add in.
It's terrifying. This is basically what you're doing there is building up a file of evidence against yourself. Does it just email the results straight to the police? That'd be good. Holly, what's your...
I've devised a website which is called ReliCycle, and basically it's... we all know the success of websites like FreeCycle, where people advertise things that they no longer need and then someone comes and picks it up. Well, this is specifically for unwanted family members. So, for example, I've got a grandmother who I no longer need. She means nothing to me. I can't afford to put her in a home. So I advertise on ReliCycle, and then, I say, like, I've got a granny, her name's Edith, in the Lewisham area, come and pick her up. So, like, if another family wants a granny, or maybe they just want to break her down for parts, that's all... But then also, it's going to be like self-regulating, like on eBay, how you can rate sellers. So, like if somebody rips you off and they go, great, I picked up Edith, she died a week later. And she wasn't even a real granny, she was a step-granny.
Callous. You callous witch. I mean, you said that with such a sort of sweet smile. It's a monstrous idea. Richard, how about you?
Well, there's a lot of price comparison sites, and I wondered if we could take that out, and I thought about doing a life comparison site where you could maybe call you'vewastedyourlife.com, in which you have to type in all the achievements you've had in your life, and then they're compared to everyone else in the world by a computer, and then it gives you a score of where you come. Maybe there's one just for everyone in the world. You could do, like, I think we're getting there, like, friends and people from school. You could have a section. I think you could have you and famous figures from history who are the same age as you. So you get Jesus at 33, achieved quite a lot. You're watching Hollyoaks. Every Sunday, despite having seen every episode in its original 6:30 evening showing.
Would it say, well, you're doing worse than Jesus? You're doing better than, Paul Heine, the consumer affairs journalist?
Well, someone's got a bit too big for their boots if they think they're doing better than Paul Heine, Charlie.
I'm not saying that.
All right.
If I did that, I found out recently that Holly Willoughby went to my rival's school, and she's exactly the same age as me.
Right.
She's now doing incredibly well and has, like, an amazing husband and children. Yeah. That would just be...
She's really nice. I've met her as well. She's super nice. She is. She's really nice. And she's funny. She's really funny, actually. She's really funny.
And then you just get a score, out of 4 billion people. I mean, it would be good if you were one of the people who came, like, in the top 10. You'd feel quite good. But most of us would come... like 3 billion.
All but 10 of us would come.
I mean, so there'd be 10 very smug people. It would be a very good sight for most of humanity. Yeah. It would be just to be told of, how you've wasted your life. It's a wonderful opportunity to be alive for this brief period of time, and we waste it.
But surely, I mean, you could compare yourself, like, I could get depressed comparing myself to, like, Mozart.
Yeah.
But then, if I'm alive and eating a sandwich, that's more than he can bloody do. So it's all relative.
But then that's in a shorter time span as well, so that's taken into account. He had a short life, and, you'll have a longer life and achieve less.
You know what? I like that idea, because I'm obsessed with that sort of thing. I'm always it's all a monstrous game, all of this. It's all a race. It's all a race. I'd knife all of you in the eye just to get 1% more than any of you. Yes, I appreciate that idea, so I'm going to give a point to you, Richard.
Thank you.
Well done. The next round is called This Putrid Modern Hell. I'll be asking each of my guests to nominate the most irritating thing about modern life. My favourite answer wins a point. The one good thing about today's modern, broken society is that we've all become so alienated and fragmented, I no longer have to look anyone in the eye, let alone speak to the idiot. We'll start with you, Holly. Holly, what annoys you most about the modern world?
I have a personal vendetta against self-checkout machines. I absolutely hate them. Well, yeah, exactly. The revolution starts here. I used to work in Marks and Spencer's on the in the food hall, and it's really galling to see a machine doing the same job as you are, but for less money and with more manners. That's just horrible. But I saw the most amazing thing. I was in my local Sainsbury's. It was like a 24-hour Sainsbury's. It was quite late at night, and this guy in front of me had a few too many to drink, and he was trying to use one of these self-checkout machines, and they're complicated enough to use at the best of times, let alone when you're wasted. And it clearly got the better of him, and he decided the best thing to do at the heat of the moment would be to headbutt it. Which is pretty impressive in itself, but he clearly did it much harder than he meant to, and got concussion. He sort of had to steady himself by slumping down next to the machine, at which point I swear to God there was a smug silence before it went, unexpected item in bagging area.
I can relate to that. I hate those, because it's like you're working for them.
I was using one in the Isle of Sheppey recently, in the Tesco's there, and don't ask why. It's not a good, because it's not a good story.
Is it completely abandoned island?
It's pretty much.
It's pretty
terrifying. And the woman was standing there, and I was putting the stuff through, you know, and I had a grapefruit, and she stood watching me with her arms folded. And she worked at Tesco's. It wasn't just like a woman; it was a woman who worked at Tesco's. And I thought, oh, I can't see the barcode on that, so I just, you know, press the thing and grapefruit, put it on the thing, put it through, and paid. And just as I was paying, she went, yeah, there's a barcode on that, actually. And I went, I'm sorry. And she went, yeah, there's a barcode. You had your thumb under it. Your thumb was over it. And I went, yes, I have paid. I've paid. But she went, yeah, I know. You just could have done it quicker.
Richard, what annoys you about?
I think, surprisingly, I go to the gym, and you may be surprised to hear this, but because I'm getting older now as well, I am turning into this typically middle-aged man who gets annoyed by other people being inconsiderate, and I just hate kind of bad gym etiquette is the thing that really annoys me. So if you're in a gym that has towels, there's a place where you can put your used towels afterwards, which is like always about 2 feet away, but some guys just drop their towels on the floor and leave them all over the place. Because they're thinking, oh, someone will come and tidy that up for me. But A, you're leaving them all over the seats and it's someone else's dirty, disgusting, wet towel.
Maybe dropping them in a sexy way. Exactly like, oh, I'm just going to drop this by Richard Herring.
Not in my, but they're intimidating as well. So I'd love to go, excuse me, I don't think your mum works here.
And even if she did, she probably wouldn't be allowed in the men's changing room.
Might be quite nice. But then I kind of feel that if that happens, she might come in and go, well, I do actually work. We could do a nice advert for my campaign, I think, where that happens, and then an old woman comes in and goes, oh, sorry, my mistake. And she's checking out the guy's packages, going... there's all sorts of things. It's people who use... there's a guy at my gym who uses the hairdryer to dry every part of his body. And I think that is... Even though it's not directly touching, there's a little gap. Still in my mind, that hairdryer has been linked by hot air, and I'm then going to use it on my hair afterwards.
Do you think
that sounds like a really good act on Britain's Got Talent. Ian, what annoys you about the modern world?
Can I have a person?
Yes.
I find it not annoying so much as baffling, which is Richard Hammond. Well, that's it. I'll stop there, I think. No, it seems to have gone quite well. No, what I think is amazing about Richard Hammond is that he's a man who, you know, on one hand, you could probably count how many people in the world have seen and known for certain their own death. Intellectually known what was going to happen, known how fast they were travelling, known, you know, what they were going to hit, known what was going to happen, known that they were going to definitely die. And, you know, you talk about Amazonian tribes, talk about people in China, you know, across the world there are maybe a handful of people who have seen and known their own death and then come back to full health. And he did another series of Top Gear. Look, he knew God, he knew his own definite demise, and thought, well, I haven't exhausted the Captain Slow jokes yet. Maybe I should go and do that. I'll grow a slightly floppier fringe. Maybe I'll do Brainiac. That That's what it was. Like, he must have some knowledge, and he's come back and that's what he's done.
Well, maybe the terrifying implication of that is that he's seen beyond this
Yes,
realm.
that is what's terrifying.
And that's all there is to do. OK, so, to summarise. Holly, you're annoyed with self-checkout machines. Richard, you picked bad gym etiquette. And Ian, Richard Hammond. Well, you know what? Ian, I think you get a point. OK, so it's final round time. I'll be asking my guests a series of quick-fire questions. The wrongest answer to each one wins a point. We'll start with, what's the worst advertising slogan imaginable?
Apple computers. Do you think you're a bit arty?
Basically, for any soft drink, I mean, they're trying to make soft drinks like they make you cool and be able to do things. If it just was, this is a soft drink, the only effect it will have on your life is to make you need a wee. and perhaps burp.
I don't like the slogan because you're worth it. Because, like, it makes people think they are. And they're just not.
I think the flip side of that is that because you're worth it, and that's how low is your sort of like self-esteem that you think you're worth a $1.99 bottle of shampoo. That's pretty depressing.
Actually, when you put it like that, I don't think I am worth it. OK, well, you know what? I'm going to give Holly a point. What's the worst advice you could give someone who fancies a co-worker?
You could tell them to go and find out where they live, steps, some dead flowers and a bottle of wine, and leave them there with a note.
The worst advice would be, why not take her on a date to a greenhouse? Because if there's one thing a businesswoman loves, it's a glass ceiling.
That sounds like that's like an answer off an 80s episode of Blind Date. Well, you know what? I am going to give a point to Holly. Who is the worst person you could be stuck on a desert island with?
I thought, well, Richard Dawkins. So as you were watching the sun go down, you know, alone, the two of you, just thinking this, watching the sun, beautiful sunset, and he'd go, you know, it's just gases. And he'd look like, yes, all right, I get it. You know, and you'd be sitting there praying for a ship to come, and he'd be like, yes, it's not going to work. Yes, I know I'm an atheist, I know the praying's not going to work, Richard, I get it. Stop going on about everything I see. No, I'm not being difficult, I'm just having a moment.
Gazing up at the majesty of the stars, it's pointless!
It's pointless.
I love the idea that if you were trapped on a desert island, you'd be looking at the sunset going, oh, this is beautiful. It's like being on holiday, isn't it? Self-catering.
You probably allow yourself one moment to allow the imagination. Sponsor the dolphins with There's No God, Stop Worrying, and... You know, sorry. No, it's OK.
I'm going to give Ian a point for Richard Dawkins. What's the worst way to start a telephone call?
Goodbye.
Unless you're being arch.
If you're a 999 operator, it's instead of fire, ambulance, what are you wearing?
How about, hello, is that Andrew Sachs?
Yeah, that's been proven. Yeah, I hate it. I just hate it when you ring up and people are enjoying themselves. Like, you get that thing where they answer and they go, hi! It just sort of doubles the loneliness, doesn't it?
Especially when it's the Samaritans.
I'm going to give you a point for that. OK. What's the worst idea for a birthday gift?
Is it a cake that's a pie chart that shows you the amount of your life you've wasted and how little is left? On the top, happy birthday, like that, colour-coded.
That's a horrible idea.
Was that not the point?
No, it is. But personalised gifts in general are weirdly impersonal because they just remind you that you are just an interchangeable, like, name tag. You know, dear Charlie, happy birthday. You just think I am just a tiny little blob, an insignificant blob that can just be rubber stamped on a product. Thanks, happy birthday.
It's like when they do those world's best dad, and then there are like 80 of them. You think, world's #1 dad, you can't all be.
Yeah, why not just give you a mug that says, you know, world's 858 dad?
Why not just refer your dad to my website? And you'll be able to find out whether he is the world's #1 dad.
Dad rankings. Doesn't sound right, does it?
Very not so good in the Far East, that one.
Okay.
I actually got the worst birthday present of my life this year. I got a £10 gift voucher for Lidl. which apparently makes me a 40% stakeholder in the company.
I'm going to give Holly a point. OK, that noise means the game is up, making Holly this week's worst contestant. But well done to everyone, and thank you. That's the end of the show. Goodbye.
So Wrong, It's Right was hosted by Charlie Brooker with guests Richard Herring, Holly Walsh and Ian Morris. The producer was Aled Evans, and it was a Zeppotron production for BBC Radio 4. Hello, I'm Charlie Brooker, and welcome to So Wrong, It's Right, the show that claims some things are so wrong, they're right. A funny concept, which unfortunately, according to my lawyer, is not a valid legal defence. It's the panel show where saying the wrong thing can earn you points, unlike in the real world, where it generally just results in a stony silence that's ultimately just another cold nail in the coffin of your failing relationship. Still, let's keep it light. My father always said I'd be a failure. Throughout my life, I've worked hard to overcome that stigma, and it's only now, as an adult sitting here, looking into the faces of our audience and our panel of guests, that I can say finally to him, yeah, Dad, well done, you were right. Anyway, let's meet tonight's guests, who are planning to snatch defeat from the jaws of themselves. We've got Richard Herring, Lisa Tarbuck, and Jack Whitehall. First round, is called Wrong Time, Wrong Place. I'll be asking my guests to dust off the skeletons in their closets in an attempt to out-wrong each other with belittling and embarrassing stories from their own sorry, insignificant, meaningless, fleeting, and quite frankly, disgusting little lives. Sorry, I don't want to judge you. But that's clearly what I've just done. Anyway, this week's theme is excuses. What's the worst excuse you've ever given? There's going to be a point for the best worst answer. He started it, my PE kit's in the wash, and I left my bag on the bus are poor excuses for school kids. Jeanette Cranky is another. The Nazis were big on excuses. Goebbels famously said, the bigger the lie, the more people will believe it, which is rubbish. The student loan company didn't believe it when I phoned to say I couldn't keep up the repayments because I'd recently died at the Battle of Hastings. Lisa, what's the worst excuse you've ever used?
Well, I used to, when I was quite skint and Mum and Dad went out but didn't take Dad's car, I used to siphon petrol out of his car into my Mini Clubman. This
is not the glamorous showbiz life I was expecting.
Dad kept us on quite a tight leash. So I had a Mini Clubman. Now, obviously, there's no boot that you can hide things in. So I've got the rubber coil. Now it's become something of a habit.
What, you can't start a car without stealing petrol?
Well, no, I can't leave the hose anywhere that Dad will find it because it reeks of petrol and I've got quite paranoid about it. So I just leave it in the boot of the car, but it's not a boot because you can see it. So I get stopped by a policeman who asks me what the rubber hose in the back of the car's for. Because as far as he's concerned, it looks like it could be something that would be used to siphon petrol off. And I told him, it is. Smell it, it is. Because what I do of an evening is siphon Dad's petrol off when he goes off to work. And he doesn't know. And he's gone, yeah, all right. And I'm like, no, I do.
But that's not really an excuse. That's the truth. That's a reason.
I turned it on its head. I could have given him an excuse, sure.
Did he sniff the hose? It sounds wrong. Did he sniff the hose?
No, Charlie, he didn't.
Did he buy your excuse?
He whisked me away. He'd had enough of me and my big grinning face, daring him to sniff the hose.
Was it that weird psychological trick you can do?
Yeah.
Like, there was a friend of mine I heard about who was walking through Reading late at night, which can be dangerous, and a guy came over to him and said, what's the time? And he looked at him, told him, and then the guy said, thanks, give me your money. Right, and he realised it was a mugging situation. And instead of giving him his money, what he did was he turned his palms up like that and stared into his hands and started going, spiders! Spiders everywhere, spiders! And the mugger ran away. good advice, good thing to know about in life.
That's mad.
So what you had done...
3 times out before you get shot in the face with that one. As a warning.
This was in a happier time. Jack, what's the worst... Yeah, the lamest excuse you've ever...
Well, the lamest are always the same. Like, I mean, you know, oh, sorry, miss, the naughty dog ate it. I never got asked back to babysit. But, other real ones that I've told, like, because my big thing at school that I always got really annoyed about, and I don't know why, I shouldn't have got that upset by it, but the fact that, because I was never good at any sport and I wasn't very athletic, and I was rubbish, and I hated, like, gym and swimming and all of that. Girls, every time, women's problems, no one questions it. If you say women's problems, you don't have to do gym, you don't have to do swimming, and
They do if you're not, if you haven't hit puberty yet.
Well, no, but at a certain age, like, that cannot be questioned. So my big campaign was for men's problems. That's what I want. So I had this thing where I was like, no, I don't want to do swimming because I have men's problems. I have an issue standing in a shower next to someone that, you know, is more...
Developed,
yes, because A, it makes me feel inadequate, and B, it's weird that it's the art teacher. That's why I'm not swimming.
No, I agree. I think that the changing room is a terrible thing. It's like, because when you're at school, those are your workmates, essentially, isn't it? It's like, there's not many... If you've ever worked in an office, there's not many incidences where you'd have to strip off in front of everyone else there. Because you can't... Of course you're going to look at what everyone else has got going on. I saw a drama documentary several years ago about a dirty bomb in London. It was like, what if a dirty bomb went off in London? And the most astonishing thing was they called all these workers out of an office and made them strip off and hosed them down. And I just thought that would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Like, that would be the one upside of a dirty bomb, is you'd get to see your boss's bum. Richard, what is the worst excuse you've ever used?
Well, I remember when I was at infant school, it was always embarrassing to go to the toilet for a number 2, let's say. So you would always try not to... There was always a stigma attached to that.
I think there still is, as far as I know.
So a little bit. And so as a 6-year-old, I really needed to go to the toilet. And I actually, to the extent that I was so embarrassed to go to the toilets, that I actually just went in my pants. And I was wearing little, you know, shorts at the time. And I was trying to get away with this. Obviously it was quite difficult because there was a smell, and I remember the other kids going, what's that? There's an odd smell. And I went, and we were in the classroom, and I said, yes, I think there's a naughty dog outside. And that was my excuse, and they believed that. They were 6 years old. They were stupid.
So you claimed that a dog standing outside
had done a poo so foul that the stench had come into the classroom.
It's not naughty for a dog, though.
It's not naughty anyway, really, is it? It's just hideous.
It is naughty. It's quite cute. I was a child at the time. I don't know if I made that clear. I wasn't just the teacher.
Were you punished? Were you...
No, I ran to the toilets and then, I hid in there until my mum came to pick me up.
That's quite a feeble excuse, quite creative to have blamed it on an invisible dog outside the building. That sounds like the sort of thing a serial killer would do. I think that was the son of Sam's defence, genuinely. He said that his
dog had told him.
He blamed it on a neighbour's dog. Yeah. Well, I'd say that the most feeble excuse has got to be Lisa's, because it wasn't even an excuse. It was just a reason. So, that's a point to you, Lisa.
Thanks very much.
Our next round is called Do Your Worst. I'll be stretching my guests' imaginations by asking them to come up with an incredibly bad idea. This week, I've asked them to pitch me gimmicky new concepts for detective shows. My favourite TV detectives tend to be the drunk, angry, troubled and misogynistic ones, and if they look like me as well, so much the better. My parents were such fans of the Jersey-based sleuth Bergerac that every summer we'd all get in the camper van, hit the motorway and spend 2 weeks parked opposite John Nettle's home in Aylesbury, cataloguing his every move. That's true. In my opinion, the greatest detective show of all time, perhaps the greatest TV show of all time, is The Wire. In fact, I consider it the single greatest work of art in human history, greater even than the Pyramids, Paradise Lost, or the Sistine Chapel. A more significant accomplishment than the splitting of the atom, containing more truth about human nature, more wit and beauty than all the works of Shakespeare combined. All hail to The Wire, I say all hail. Although season 5 was a bit pup, to be honest. Anyway, back to what I was saying a minute ago, which is that I'm going to ask you to come up with gimmicky new concepts for detective shows. The worst one is going to win a point. Lisa, what's your detective show all about?
The hardest thing about this is, as weird and wonderful as your mind can take you, it's been done. So, I've come up with, you've got this policeman, and he's a lapsed Catholic. His parents are probably Irish. And he's chummed up with a radical feminist type. And I don't mind whether it's a man or a woman.
This does just sound like a Jimmy McGovern script.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're onto this particular crime when he starts getting dreams about a baby that is always wrapped.
This is a full treatment, you were.
This was 2 walks in Highgate Woods, this was. A baby that is wrapped in things, because obviously the baby can't speak, but he's letting this bloke know the clue is in where I am or what I'm wearing. And the guy, who's up going to a therapist...
Yeah. So, hang on a minute.
No, I haven't lost my way.
So this Irish lapsed Catholic guy, guilty, or whatever he's called, he's having visions of a baby.
Yeah.
That's right.
That he starts to share with his cohort. And just says, I think I'm going a bit crazy, till it, for example, the baby is draped in a map. So he starts to notice these are things that are giving him clues to solving crimes that they're already on. But then
this is a brilliant idea for a show.
Then they start to wonder why it's this particular baby doing it all the time.
As well they might.
Exactly. And you won't find out about that till episode 10.
You brought in some scripts for this. We're going to read them out.
Who do you
Let's
think?
forget this show. I want the map baby.
I'm thinking Ken Stott in the lead, and
I think he's too old now. Actually,
Really?
he could be the cohort, in fact, or the boss.
Maybe.
He could be the baby. You could be the baby, Jack.
You could be the baby.
Jack could be the baby.
Well, that's remarkable, because what you've done there, you haven't just come up with a concept, you've had a breakdown. But genuinely, that is more fleshed out, I think, than most sort of high-concept American TV shows that are around.
Every time I thought about a telepathy or something weird, I just thought, well, that's Midsummer Murders, that's blooming... I even went... A fantastic story about set in the past from a fella who went back... And I thought, well, that's Life on Mars. Yeah, everything's been done.
Not the map baby, hasn't there?
Jack, I'll move to you.
Quickly.
Okay, so it's like set in a leafy village in Middle England, like kind of midsummer. But here's the twist. There are no murders. Nothing happens. And the Chief Detective Barnaby, he is very nice. He is happily married. He gets on very well with his detective co-partner. His boss is brilliant. He doesn't drink. I mean, he got drunk once about 4 Christmases ago, but since then he hasn't touched a drop. He's a very nice, down-to-earth, solid guy. And what he does is he goes around and he solves all of these cases which happen in the village, and basically they're all very petty farm-based squabbles and or a lot of paperwork. Series finale, one of the farmers suspects that one of his cattle might have been murdered by someone else in the village, but after minor investigation by Detective Barnaby, it turns out that the cow died of natural causes. Back to the office, bit more paperwork, and they're going to sort out moving a felled tree from a busy high street.
That's not bad. That is effectively an entire year's worth of Emmerdale.
Yeah.
That is Emmerdale.
I've either got that or Hobocop, which is Robocop, but he's homeless. Or Touch of Frost, which is like, there's a detective called Jack Frost that just inappropriately gropes other co-workers.
I can see that. Okay. So, Richard, what's your...
Well, I think I've got a couple. I'd quite like to do something that has the kind of gritty realism of The Wire, but that just one of the police officers is a Power Ranger. And just uses that all the time. Just uses... Or, like, maybe a cartoon mouse that can talk, or something. Just... Or something with a superpower that just makes it easy to solve everything. So I'd quite like to do that. I'd quite like to do one called PC Jesus. Jesus is back, and this time he's a police constable. It's kind of quite... Because it'd be quite useful as a police constable, because he's omnipresent, so he can see absolutely everything as it happens. So it would be quite a bad programme, because everyone would get solved straight away, and then Jesus would just forgive all the criminals. But they'd be back out on the street and be able to do more crime.
I was going to ask, why isn't he preventing this?
Well, you could ask that about the world in general, couldn't you? Jesus could have stopped all the horrible crimes that have happened recently. Jesus could have just copped in and gone, oh, come on.
Is that the show's message? At the end of each episode, as they're leading the murderer to the cell, someone goes, "But why? I don't understand, Jesus. Why don't you just stop this?" And he just looks round down the lens and raises an eyebrow. You know what? I would definitely watch it. So, for that reason alone, I'm going to give you a point.
Thank you.
This round is called This Putrid Modern Hell. And in it, I'll be asking each of my guests to nominate the thing they dislike most about contemporary life. My favourite answer wins a point. Like many of us, I thought the biggest developments of the 21st century would involve the introduction of jetpacks, holidays on the moon, and robot concubines in every home. Instead, we got Simon Cowell and Nando's. I'm a sucker for modern technology. If it's new, I have to have it. I know it's sad, but I was queuing outside the shop when shredded wheat bite size went multigrain. Anyway, so modern life. Jack, we'll start with you. Jack, what annoys you about this modern world?
Well, I have one that I've recently had to encounter, and I mentioned briefly earlier that I have a problem with gyms and changing rooms, but I wanted to make it a little bit more broad because I joined a gym the other day, and it's quite like an intimidating place for some, because I don't have any like muscular tissue on my entire body, so I went in there and they've got all these things like the treadmills to build up your stamina and then the weights to build up your muscles, and then I was just there, I just wanted to build up my self-esteem, but there's no area for that, and I got the personal trainer, and the personal trainer, is the scariest thing ever. Because I had a guy called Mike, who's like a proper, kind of like beefcake, like, ex-army or something. He was like a big guy, and just pushed me to the limit, and I lost it, and he was just, go on, Jack. He was like, push yourself, embrace the burn, Jack. Look at my body. How do you think I got to where I am today? I don't know, Mike. Maybe because you didn't listen at school. So my issue is Mike, specifically. Personal trainers. I hated it.
Why?
I'm never going back.
But did you go... Because I went to a gym once. Right, I went to a gym once. I went to the induction day at a gym. They were all so nice. Everyone at the gym was so nice, it really made me angry. There was so reason... Because I went there thinking, I don't like gyms and I don't like the people in them. I'm going to hate this. And I was sort of standing there being all surly at the back while they were showing everyone how all the machines work. And they were so pleasant and and non-judgmental that I just wanted to hit everyone in there. That's good. OK, so gyms, basically. Richard, I will leap. To you.
I kind of hate the fact it's an environmental thing that kind of the global warming's happening and that really no one cares. And then there's loads of things everyone could do to stop it happening, and none of us are really doing them. And the world's gonna be destroyed, but none of us really, in 50 years' time the world will be underwater basically because of this.
Yeah, whatever.
And no one gets, just that people leave their TVs on standby, right? The world's going to be destroyed because it creates a lot of pollution. If you just turn the TV set off manually, it would solve the problem, but that would mean getting up out of your seat, walking 4 paces across the room, bending over and pressing a button. You can, like in Victorian times, you can imagine why people aren't prepared to do that to save the world, can't you? It's a lot to ask to save the world. It sounds like sarcastic almost when I say that, but because that's not the whole story. You do have to then walk the 4 paces back to the sofa and sit back down again. So,
are you saying they could solve global warming by issuing us with sort of 2-metre-long sticks?
Maybe. Or just if people would walk... I mean, I'd do it as well. My TV's on standby now at home, but, it's a 4-mile trip back to my house. I don't want to have to walk another 4 paces after all that to turn on. It just, I don't care, because I've got no kids. I've deliberately made myself sexually repellent, so I will never breed. I've lived a kind of profligate lifestyle. That means I'll be dead by the time all this happens. But a lot of people have kids and stuff, and, then in 50 years' time, your kids and grandkids will be underwater going, why? There's 4 billion people in the world. If the water's rising, if everyone just drank an extra litre of water a day, more than they'd usually have, and held it in, 4 billion litres of water just bang, gone like that. That's the capacity of the Pacific Ocean. I imagine. I don't know. I haven't really listened.
I'm no scientist.
If you couldn't hold it in, you just have to go in the bath with the plug in. It's,
just store it somewhere above sea level, and it'll all be all right.
Yeah,
freeze it.
Yeah.
Why don't we just
freeze it, mate? Yeah, make a big fridge in this. That probably won't create any problems. Store water in it.
Or you could push natural sponges down into your stomach.
Yeah.
And then it would hold it there, so you wouldn't need to wee.
You're right.
Perfect.
That's a nightmare vision of the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
The government ordering you to push sponges down your throat. Lisa.
I'm going to go for that sort of veneer of service that you get from the world as a corporation as it's become. In that they've got to have, for example, a call centre. When you ring up and it's just like, hello, I'm Denise, how can I help you? And you just say, I don't think you're going to be able to help me, Denise, because it's quite a complicated issue. And in the middle of me explaining to you, you're going to say to me, I've got to go to the manager and check this. So why don't we cut out the middleman and give me the manager straight away, please? Only, Denise, that can't compute, so you have to do it all. Then you put on weight with something hideous on the what's it. And actually, I've begun to find that where anybody is offering a service, everyone's trained to a nice shell-like level, but there's no depth of knowledge to it, because there can't be. Because why would you know everything about, I don't know, an integrated oven? How could you?
Can I just throw one other little one out there, because this is something that struck me recently that really annoyed me, was people got really annoyed about Barack Obama getting the Nobel Peace Prize. And I did a little bit of research into the Nobel Prize system, and I am livid with the Nobel Prize system, because the stuff they give it to, I looked, this year, the Nobel Prize for Physics was given to 3 Japanese scientists that had developed a thing called split symmetry theory, which is to do with human interaction with the space around it. And you think, to the Nobel Prize Committee, have you seen the iPhone? There is an application on that where you can find any Nando's in the country and the quickest route to it, and you're giving it to 3 Japanese guys that worked out where you can do a pee in a vacuum. No. Because that's not what that award should be about. Because they give it like, Albert Nobel, he invented dynamite, that's cool. They're like, oh yeah, we're going to give the chemistry prize this year to some guy that invented a medicine for duck AIDS. No, give it to the guy that invented poppers.
No, I disagree. Real thing. Real thing. What do you mean, real things? No, the point. Because the guy who invented the iPhone, or one of the many other phones that are about... No, yes, but he will be rewarded with riches and sexual favours and a page on Wikipedia, right? Whereas the 3 Japanese scientists who have come up with this probably not very glamorous theory that's that's what the Nobel Prize is for. It's to shine a light on boring stuff. Sure.
Yeah, but dynamite! You invented dynamite, Nobel. That's cool.
Yeah, but the formula for dynamite is boring.
I don't think it's fair because they're set, aren't they? The categories are set. There's no Nobel Prize for a Radio 4 quiz show, for example, and yet you get like £1 million if you win the Nobel Prize for Literature. It's like nearly £1 million.
Yeah,
I'm going to start writing poems just on the off chance.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, right. End of the round. That was okay. So Jack, you had personal trainers, gyms, the Nobel Prize, basically every aspect of the modern world. Richard, you had ecological apathy, leaving televisions on standby.
I wish I'd thought of that.
That's quite serious. It's like George Monbiot. It's that George Monbiot. I should know. I'd like to think George Monbiot or George Monbiot. Anyway. Imagine, it doesn't need, it's a silent T. Imagine all the resources that have gone into printing those silent Ts throughout the years. What an ecological monster. It's a good point, I've just thought of that. Yeah. And Lisa, you had customer services that don't actually care. Oh, what a cynic you are. You know what, since it's actually going to threaten and kill us all, I'm going to give a point to Richard. Now to our final round, in which I'll be asking my guests a series of quick-fire questions. As ever, the wrongest answer to each one wins a point. We will start with, what's the worst thing you've ever done for money?
At a party once, for £50, I tried to eat a whole packet of butter.
That
That is the sort of thing, once you've started, if you don't make it to the end, you're going to look stupid.
Yeah,
whereas there's some sort of victory.
I failed. It was so disgusting. I did get 2 mouthfuls, which is the worst possible. Because it's quite rich.
I always use Flora. It's so much easier.
Has anyone...
Worst thing I did was quite recent. I did a corporate for a lot of banks in the UK, and I was the most inappropriate person that they could have chosen. And I went on stage, and it turned out that RBS was sat in the front row, and I'd noticed that one of the RBS bankers hadn't finished his meal, so I said, "Eat up. I paid for that meal." Not popular.
You know what? I'm going to give you a point, though, Richard. I'm sorry. I've got to give you a point. Failing to eat a pound of butter. Just pathetic. OK, what's the worst subject for a protest song?
Too much love.
That is a song, isn't it? Too much love will kill you.
Is it? Yeah. Is it really?
Too much love... Who sang that? Too much love will kill you. It will kill you every time.
Queen?
Oh, yeah, it's sort of a... okay, yeah. It's a tragic, yes. All right.
The weirdest protest... It's not like a protest thing, but it's a charity event that I had to do, which I'm about to slag off the charity technically, which I don't mean to because I'm meant to be a patron of them. Not for much longer. But I went and did it. It's called Save the Rhino, and that was all about saving the rhino and stuff. And they gave me these pamphlets to read out at the beginning to give some information. And the first fact was like there are only 40,000 rhinos left in the wild. It's 40,000. Like, it's like, could you not call me back when there's 12 or 10?
That's not a song.
Yeah, but it's like a protest thing. It was like a cause, I thought.
Save the remaining 40,000 rhinos.
That's a pretty bad title.
That works.
What about a protest song about stop killing the swine flu virus?
It's almost a person too.
Yeah. Why? So, yeah.
Protest. Protest. Blowing in the wind is a protest song, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what is it a protest about?
It wasn't me. It was a naughty dog.
I don't think give Jack a point.
Wow, he's coming to chase
What's the worst shop name you've ever seen?
I saw one this morning that was quite good, called the Happy Chappy Chippy. I thought that was quite good, but it was next door to Sunlight Kebabs.
Is that how they're cooked?
Well,
there's a sandwich shop in Wickham called Baguette Me Not. But I don't think that's a very good name, because presumably if you want a sandwich, you want to say baguette me, not... You go in and go baguette me not. Oh. All right.
The transaction is over. Yeah. I did once see an off-licence as well called A View to a Drink. Just like, sounded like a pun was coming. And just, well, you know what? I think I'm going to give Richard a point for baguette me not. That noise means it's game over, making Richard this week's worst contestant. Congratulations, Richard. You're officially so wrong, you're right. Thanks to all my guests and the audience. That's the end of the show. Good night.
So Wrong It's Right was hosted by Charlie Brooker with guests Lisa Tarbuck, Richard Herring and Jack Whitehall. The producer was Alan Evans and it was a Zeppotron production for BBC Radio 4.
Hello, I'm Charlie Brooker and welcome to So Wrong It's Right, the panel show that if it were a heat-resistant tile would be flapping about on the nose cone of the space shuttle. It's quite unpleasant, actually, isn't it? Tonight we'll be discussing despair, blame, self-loathing, misery and other aspects of my weekend. And then we'll get on with the programme. There's a thin line between success and failure. It's called Hadrian's Wall. Fittingly, for a show that celebrates life's most spectacular disappointments, three of them are sitting beside me in the form of the indomitable Lee Mack,
the indefatigable Sarah Millican, and the in-betweeners writer Ian Morris. The first round is called Wrong Time, Wrong Place. I'll be asking my guests to confess to an embarrassing story, so we can all point and chortle at what appalling human mistakes they are. And I'll award a point for the worst answer. This week, we're looking for workplace mishaps. We all make mistakes in the workplace, but only at Channel 5 is that company policy. Not every job is a barrel of laughs, but there's little things you can do to keep your spirits up. When I had a desk job, I put this funny little sign on my monitor to break the ice, start conversations, raise a smile of solidarity here and there, although it turns out some people find the words white power offensive. They do say you should dress for the job you want, not the one you've got, and that's why I'm wearing crotchless pants. Actually really makes sense. Anyway, I'm going to ask you all for the worst workplace mishap, and the worst answer, as decided by me, is going to get a point. I'll start with you, Sarah. What is the worst thing you've ever done at work?
I'm quite boring and sensible, so I've not really done many bad things at work, because I always wanted to make sure that I could get a reference in case I needed to go back. Even when I left to do stand-up, I thought, you never know, it might not work out, I might have to go back to the job centre where I worked. But when I worked at the cinema, Titanic came out, and we used to stand outside of the screens and wait for the massive, big, butch blokes to come out crying and just point and laugh at them.
Did you do that with, I don't know, showing us Schindler's List?
No!
Well, you could have done. What did you have to do at the cinema?
Oh, I was in charge of the popcorn area. Shut up, you're all jealous. We used to chip...
popcorn area?
Just very messy eaters. They just got going everywhere.
You've never worked in a popcorn area, have you?
I'm pleased to say I haven't, no.
You've never chipped cheese off the walls for 2 hours like I have.
Cheese?
Yeah, well, because they do, like, cheese with the nachos, and cheese should never come in a pump, should it? And it did used to spray up the walls, and we used to have to chip it off. So, you've never lived till you've done that.
This sounds worse than the trenches. Disgusting. So you're saying that the worst thing you've done is just to point and laugh at some people?
Yeah, I'm nice, though. You see, it's not something you'd understand, is it?
It can be very funny.
Lee, I imagine you've done some terrible things in the workplace in your time. What's the worst one?
I've done things you don't want to think about, Charlie. The worst thing I've ever done at work is probably just embarrassing. When I was 16, I left school. I decided I wanted to be a jockey. So that's not it, but that is... And I went to work at the local stables that had red rum, because I'm from up north, Southport, and at this point he'd retired. He was actually 21, which, for those of you that don't know, that's very old for a northerner. I was sat. All the proper jockeys went out, and I'd only been there for like 24 hours, my first day at work, and I got very excited, and I went into Red Rum's stable, and I jumped on his back whilst he was eating his hay, and I rode the finish of the 1977 Grand National with commentary. So I basically was on his back going, and he's come to the last one, he's only got 2 furlongs left. It's Lee McKillop, which is my real name. On Red Rum. I didn't say that, obviously, because I knew that. It's Lee McKillop. That would have been mental if Red Rum had gone, I thought you were Lee Mack. No, it's Lee McKillop. Okay, carry on. And then I rode the finish. He said, it's hats off, a tremendous finish, one like you've never heard at Liverpool. And that's when someone came in and caught me. And Red Rum was just fat and eating his hay. You're not seeing this at home, but I'm miming a fat horse eating hay. Think, I don't know, Anne Widdecombe having Weetabix. That was generally the look the horse gave me. I bet she could eat 7.
What was the reaction of you? Well,
he went... Oh, the man who caught me.
Yes.
He said, what are you doing? And I went, I'm riding the finish to the 1977 Grand National. He went, get off. All right. And I just sort of got off, and they all looked around like I was an idiot, and I went away very sheepish.
Do you think, did that happen to Red Rum a lot, I would imagine?
By me? I learned from my mistakes, Charlie. I'm not an idiot.
Ian.
Hello.
Ian Morris. What's the worst thing you've ever done at work?
Well, I used to work at a sort of gym and a tennis club doing nothing athletic. I was a receptionist, and I used to book tennis courts. And we used to have to get in quite early in the morning, so sort of shift work. And one day I was chatting to one of the female managers there, it was very nice, and someone was off work, and I said, the best way to call a sickie, I think, is always to say you've got diarrhoea, because no one really wants to know, no one wants to ask the specifics, they just think, yeah, diarrhoea, fine, put it down. Anyway, that night I went out and got very drunk. Very, very drunk. And when I get a hangover, they're catastrophically bad. They kind of turn into migraines, and I start vomiting and stuff. The next morning, I'm doing the early shift, 6:15, the phone rings, it's the same manager, and they say to me, where are you? And I said, I'm sick. And then she went, what's wrong with you? And there was a beat, and I went, diarrhoea? And she went, well, I know, because of our conversation yesterday, you haven't got diarrhoea, so you better come in. So I came in, and this is, really quite a posh tennis club. I basically spent the day with a bin next to me, going, yeah, I'll get you a quart! I'll get you a quart for 7 o'clock! Okay, yeah, do you want that as a 7 o'clock? And that's pretty much that until I got sacked.
That's my best excuse for I was always late. I used to work in a shop, and I was 3/4 of an hour late almost every day, and the best excuse I ever came up with was that I had soiled myself on the tube. Because no one, like you say, no one questions. No one...
Yeah. What shop did you work in, Charlie Brooker?
It was a video games shop.
Of course it was.
One of the few shops you can work in if you've soiled yourself.
Could you meet a lot of girls at the video shop, was it?
Video game shop? No.
Video game shop, that's what I mean, yeah, no.
No, of course not.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that you would have done, I'm just interested if you did or not.
If you wanted to meet, sort of pubescent boys, it was probably quite good.
Did you do the thing that people do in video shops where you sort of show off to the pubescent boys about, well, that's a rubbish game, or I've finished this?
Yeah, no, you could swear, you could smoke. You could smoke behind the counter. You were encouraged to be rude to people.
So that's where it started, Charlie. That's where you got your shtick.
That's it. I've literally, I haven't, you soiled yourself. I haven't washed since Manic Miner. I'm not
I was on with the worst mishap at work, and I'm going to give Lee a point, because he's involved a real horse. Our next round is called Do Your Worst, in which my guests will be stretching their minds over their knees in an attempt to come up with the worst idea they can. This week, I've asked them to pitch me a terrible idea for a new West End musical. For us, it's a frivolous game. For Andrew Lloyd Webber, it's a career. I would go to more musicals, but I don't like the current productions in the West End, or the theatres, or the people who go to musicals, or musicals. Lee, Matt, what's your idea for a terrible musical?
Well, I also hate musicals. The only thing I did watch once was Oliver, and I thought for a kid that's supposed to be so hungry and emaciated, he's doing an awful lot of singing and dancing. Okay, and this is my pitch to you, Charlie. It's a musical, right, set in the future. The year is 2302, where originality and individualism is shunned. Citizens are cloned. All music is manufactured by a company called Global Soft, but there's a lone dreamer who wants to get back the spirit of rock and roll and search for the holy axe and the lost riff, and his name is Galileo. First, he must escape the clutches of the killer queen, which he does, and do you know why? Because this man isn't just any old dreamer. This man is the reincarnation of Freddie Mercury. And the whole thing is set to the soundtrack of classic Queen songs. I challenge the rest of the panel and you, Charlie Brooker, to think of a worse idea for a musical.
What are you going to call it?
Oh, I don't know. We will annoy you.
I haven't seen this.
I know you haven't seen it because I've just invented it. I've not seen it.
Is that really the plot?
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen it, but I looked it up. Apparently, that is the plot to "We Will Rock You," the Queen musical.
We Will Rock You. Basically.
Yes, that's my
you
pitch.
Come up with there. Sarah, pitch me a bad musical.
Well, I really like musicals. Surprise. And I went to see one recently that was so good that during the big musical numbers I nearly cried.
I was on with the worst mishap at work, and I'm going to give Lee a point because he's involved a real horse. Our next round is called...
It was so good. Anyway, and it still felt more Maltesers and boxers in the West End, that's it. Anyway, it's important. My idea for a musical is a more realistic version of Billy Elliot. Because my dad worked down the pit, I'm such cliché, and we went through the miners' strike and it wasn't anything like that. Oh no, we'll have to burn my piano. You wouldn't have had a piano. And it's called Bleeding Heels, and that's based around the story of me waking up age 9 with heels that had exploded because my shoes were too tight, but I didn't have the heart to tell my mum and dad because they couldn't afford any new ones. Thanks. And I did get to wear wellies all summer, though, that was ace. I didn't have any friends, so it didn't matter. And Bleeding Heels will be to the tune of Bleeding Love by Leona Lewis. That's a brilliant song.
They keep bleeding.
Keep bleeding.
My bleeding heels.
Sounds like swearing, but it's not. And, yeah, when you've lived through something like that, and because I haven't seen the musical, because I wouldn't, Priscilla's ears though, shut up. And but I did see the film, and they had neon lights in the back lane saying Merry Christmas, and we barely had lights on in the house. And I'm not like, oh, you know, get the violins out, but you know, you've got to make it realistic.
Because do you watch Chitty Chitty Bang Bang and go, but you can't fly in a car? I didn't know point that it's not realistic.
Well, I've got my dad's brain, like, in a jar. My dad's an engineer, was an engineer, and whenever we watched
He was a miner a minute ago.
He wasn't a miner. I said he worked down the pit. He was a shift charge engineer, I'll have you know. And,
you make it sound so glamorous.
Better than being a miner, shut your face.
What's wrong with being a miner?
It's not as good, and it's not as skilled. My dad, whenever we watch, like...
This is a classic northern argument, this isn't it? So good. My dad's a miner. Well, my dad's an engineer in a mine. My Auntie Jean was a pit pony, beat that.
She just looked like one, look.
Audience, I'm not offended by my fictional Aunt Jean. She doesn't exist, and she's never met her.
Ian, give me an idea for it.
So I think I want people to come to this musical, so it's important that it's big. I'm pitching you, Charlie, Simon Cowell, the musical. The story is written by someone like Ben Elton, who seems like they'll do anything for money. The first half mainly focuses on his early musical career, so you get songs by Sunita, Sonia, Robson Jerome, the Power Rangers, and the WWF. Oh, yeah. So it keeps going, yeah. It's well worth, yeah. It keeps going, though, because at the end of that, it closes off with Steve Brookstein. So you think, oh, the X Factor's coming up. And then you think, so, well, maybe I'll go back for the second half because it's going to get better. It's going to be the X Factor. But what it actually is it's the same dead-eyed, cynical, bland pop music as a cash dispenser, but this time it's sung by actors who are slightly more urban or gay. Basically, it's pop music as a cash dispenser, a way to make money.
Is Simon Cowell singing?
Yeah, he's singing. It's basically the story of a man's difficulty to achieve a flat top with the centre parting, how high is too high on a man's trousers, and also the idea of perfecting the righteous turn around and shrug to an audience. They're the struggles that are going on in this. I think that people would like it, people would go to see it. It wouldn't be about Bleeding Heels, I'll give you that. I did actually come up with it myself. So, whoever you want to win, you choose, but I'm just saying,
I don't think that's the worst musical, because I think I'd go and see that.
I would get you there, and then you'd be hooked, and you'd think, oh, Sunita, Sonia, X Factor.
Those are not three things that are going to hook me into anything.
I've seen Sonia live.
Really?
She's a winner.
Does he, can you alter the story? Can he take his own life at the end?
Is he sexy in the musical? Because he's quite sexy normally. No.
He's like quite quietly, so
yeah. Is he? Yeah. I want to go on, because I want a little cuddle off Dermot, and then I want to be quite good, so Simon Cowell gives us that little wink that he does.
I think you are literally the only person watching the X Factor thinking, God, this is...
I'm really not.
This is fit. Oh, this on a Saturday night.
What you could do though with Simon Cowell is you could slip your hand down his belt buckle like that and tickle his nipples.
When you put it like that, that's... That's a powerfully erotic. OK, to summarise, we've got Lee, basically you've just tried to sell me We Will Rock You. Sarah, you're saying a more realistic Billy Elliot, because you're still bitter about the miners' strike.
Yeah.
You say that as if it's a small thing as well, like, miners' strike you lived through and you couldn't afford lighting.
Like that Armenian massacre people go on about. Yeah. Real life Billy Elliot, you're saying. And Ian, you're saying Simon Cowell, the musical.
Well, give it a bit more than that and it'll sound better.
Well, you know what I'm going to go for? I'm going to go for the real life Billy Elliot, I think, because I think realism is important. Well done, Sarah. You got a point. This round is called This Putrid Modern Hell. It's a sort of hate rally against the 21st century's biggest little annoyances. I'll be asking each of my guests to nominate the thing they hate most about today. My favourite answer wins a point. Modern communications have been revolutionised by things like Twitter, which puts you on intimate terms with the stars. Fern Cotton. I now know so much about Fern Cotton, it's almost like she's a personal friend of mine I can't stand. Technology is amazing. My brand new mobile phone can take high-definition 5 million megapixel photographs of my trouser pocket and email them to the first 5 people in my address book without me even pressing a button or wanting it to. Ian Morris, what annoys you most about the modern world?
What annoys me most is the drive to give inanimate objects or products personality. So I sort of blame something like...
Are you talking about me?
I'm talking about you. Talking about your drive. No, I think things like you might buy a smoothie and it might say on the side, "Hi, I contain 9 crushed strawberries, a mashed banana, half a pressed apple, half a squeezed orange, 0 snooker cues, and a little bit of sugar." I think, yes, why are you talking to me in the first person? I don't understand. And I found the other day, genuinely said to me, "Please keep me cool." You think, keep you cool? I'm planning to drink you in 30 seconds. Why are we having a relationship? And it becomes so familiar that you think, I'm not this familiar with my friends. My friends don't talk to me like this. Why are you getting all chatty? And I think what happens, I think Innocent Smoothies started it. Their sort of smoothies had all these stuff on the side. But then, this is genuine, my washing powder is inviting me to go online and talk about the environment and what it does and stuff like that. You think, when would I do that? When am I going to go online and talk about my washing powder with my washing powder? What, when I've completed the whole rest of the internet? Is that the moment I think, maybe I should do this? And I was thinking about it, and I thought maybe it's a middle class thing. And the middle classes, if I'm not, of course, squarely part of that, like to be reassured that our products are nice. So you don't buy a can of, like, super strength lager. It doesn't say, "I will fight you" on the side. That's nice. It's my super strength lager asking if I could spare me some change. Please don't urinate me and throw me at schoolgirls. It's my last piece of this. Is what annoys me is that I worry that it can't be good for schizophrenics, because in the old days it was just it was just the dog or the lamp that you had to worry about talking to, asking you to murder people. Now everything you look at, the washing powder.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I find it very strange that they try and build a rapport with you when all you're trying to do... I mean, yeah, and you're going to rip their head off and pour their innards into a cup and then drink them. That's no basis for any sort of relationship.
But how bored do you have to be reading the side of a smoothie?
Well, that's very harsh. Also, I think you'll find, Sarah, it's lonely, not bored. I had a thing that on the box I was reading, lonely, was, and it said, "Why not come and be part of the Jaffa Cake community?" And I thought... And I literally did. I was like, "Yeah, all right." And it was, do you know what? Wasn't that good.
Do you think there's arms manufacturers who are marketing like their new guns? It's a gunny-wunny shooty bag. What's the man's head all burst a party what?
We call our cluster bombs clusters because they're clusters of fun.
And bomb.
And bomb, mainly and the bomb bit.
OK, Sarah.
My pet hate, I suppose, is dawdlers. Now, I don't mean people who walk slowly. Because there are people who walk slowly, either people who can't walk very well or old people. I don't have a problem with that. It's people who choose to walk slowly on pavements. I think there should be a fast lane on pavements. So not only have I highlighted the problem, I've also come up with a solution. So I should get a point. No. Because, like, when I was a kid, in order for me and my sister to do things quicker, my mum would do the music from the silent films shows. So we would be sort of... Yeah, well, she would do like that. And that just automatically makes you kind of pick up your speed, whatever you're doing. But I always think that in their minds, these people who are walking really slowly are clearly listening to, like, Louis Armstrong, We Have All the Time. And I just want them to... because I only passed my driving test a couple of years ago, and I walk on busy pavements like I drive. So I'll check up on my shoulder and I'll pull out. And then I walk past the dawdlers and I pull back in again.
What overtaking people?
No, but just that they have to keep in. There's an inside lane. There's an inside lane.
Don't make the pavement more complicated than it has to be.
But you know, like, when you go out, like, for, a sandwich, and everybody's out at lunchtime, isn't it really irritating when people walk really slowly? And especially, I mean, London's really bad because people just stop. Like...
People are irritating. People being everywhere.
Oh, so you just go out in the night for sandwiches?
Not for sandwiches.
I don't mean that. I don't have a problem with on the way to the shop.
Oh, I do. Because London's really bad because obviously there's a lot of tourists, so people just will walk along and then just stop in front of you. Am I the only one that finds that irritating?
What is the matter with you people?
See, it wasn't funny, but they agree.
People walking slowly?
Yes.
Down the... What are they texting? Is that
I
what they're
don't
doing?
care what they're doing.
Have you ever considered the possibility that everybody is walking at the normal speed and you're caffeined up freak? Perhaps going at an extra 25% than you should be doing.
Well, maybe...
Move out the way, move out the way, move out the way, move out the way. You're not a tourist, you're not even from round here in London.
I'm not a tourist, I work here sometimes.
I've never encountered... I can't... I'm shocked that this is a problem. Evidently, I don't walk around. And maybe I'm one of the dawdlers. Maybe that's what it means.
Maybe we've overtaken you.
Have you tried just shouting at them?
Well, I'm tempted to do that music just behind people, just to see if...
It's very passive-aggressive.
It is, yeah. And then they'll just all of a sudden just start walking really quickly.
Yeah, but they'll get into all sorts of silent film accidents. They'll end up falling off clocks.
Buildings falling over.
Buildings fall down, but just the door will miss them.
Railway lines lying trapped.
Lee, what's your biggest modern annoyance?
Why? It's very simple and quick, and it's always annoyed me, right? The number one thing that separates us from the animals is the ability to go to the toilet in private. Right? And when you sit down in a cubicle and you look down and you see the feet of another man next door, it's disgusting. And the gap between the floor and the separating bit of wall is getting taller and taller as the years go on, and the doors in pubs are getting smaller for some reason, so people can pop their head over the top. It's getting to the point where it's like a beer match covering your... I have to sit there now, I'm so squeamish, I have to sit there when I'm sat in the toilet with my fingers in my ears, because looking down and seeing another man's underpants round his ankles, and he's 3 inches... I've known it where you accidentally brush feet. It's horrible.
I know what you mean, because what you want is a soundproof booth in another universe.
Everything.
I think you need to start going to the toilet at home, don't you? It sounds like you're constantly out.
Yeah, do you look through the little hole as well? That's about midway up.
I do have a solution. I discovered that if you go in with, like, headphones on, like listening to music really loud, you can just defecate like a cow. Literally, like the 3 monkeys that sit there, so, you know, it just like literally...
Yeah, but the problem is, Charlie, I'm reserved. It's the worry that he will hear me. So the only way that would work for me is if, just before I start, I reach underneath and say, "Excuse me, I've got Aerosmith loving an elevator, can you crank it up to 10? And that's just going to make me sound odd, isn't it?
So I can relate to that. I can relate to the small gaps between toilet cubicles.
Big gaps, Charlie, big gaps. That's my problem. The rule is, if you can see shoe, it's wrong.
Well, Ian, yours was products with personality, horrible, fake, chummy personalities on the cartons. Sarah, yours is painfully slow walkers, dawdlers on the pavement. And Lee, it's the large, gaping gaps between toilet cubicles. That sounds wrong.
It does.
Well, you know what? I think I need all the friends I can get, but I can't stomach modern products either. So,
Lovely.
Ian, that's a point to you.
Thank you.
Okay. This is our last round, in which I'll be asking my guests a series of quick-fire questions. As always, the wrongest answer to each one wins a point. All right. What's the worst thing you can say to a new neighbour?
Can I borrow a hammer, some plastic bin liners and a shovel?
Are you a drummer as well?
I do have a drummer for a neighbour. It's really annoying. 5 years and they've got no better. It's really infuriating. I would say, I think there's a point to Lee. What's the worst world record you could hold?
Britain's most prolific zoophiliac.
What about necrophile zoophiliac?
I think, in fact, this Britain's is good, though, 'cause you're not even the best one in the world.
The world's most forgetful man, because then he couldn't even boast about it.
I think on grounds of taste alone, that's a point to Sarah. What is the worst email subject line to pop up on your computer?
I think anything, you know, the ones that are clearly spam, but they try and be your friend. So they have like so it'll have like Sam, and then it'll have in the subject something really generic, like, hey, about that thing. There's always the moment where you go, I know a Sam. And I do things.
I once got hundreds of death threats after I wrote an article. I wrote an article about George Bush when he was president. I got hundreds of death threats from Americans, and they're all saying things like, "I hope you die," you know, in the subject line. And then every so often you'd get one that would go, "I read what you wrote and I agreed with it," and you'd open it up and it would go, "Not really. I hope you die." Well, you know what? I'm going to give Sarah a point. Well, that noise means we've reached the end of the show, making Sarah this week's worst contestant. Well done, Sarah. You're officially so wrong, you're right. Thanks also to Ian and Lee. Good night.
So Wrong is Right was hosted by Charlie Brooker with Lee Mack, Sarah Millican and Ian Morris. The producer was Aled Evans, and it was a Zeppotron production for BBC Radio 4.